Hi, everyone. This is DJ Honeyflow for the Honeyflow Talk Show. And today I have another special guest on, all the way from Oakland, California. He's got so many interesting stories, had a great phone conversation with him today, and just hearing all his exceptional stories, just growing up in, of course, the music scene for such a long time. 40 plus years is pretty incredible as well. And just his knowledge with music. I love watching his shows. They're very unique. It's not like any other DJ I've watched on Twitch. And I'm sure if you've ever gone to a show, you would know, definitely through his stories and through his music that he tells. But he's one of those DJs I find that can really tell a story through, the turntables. So he doesn't even have to even say anything, but if he just plays music, it's almost like he puts a storyline together. And it's going to be a great, conversation the next couple hours. So make sure you guys give DJ Malachi a warm welcome in the room. And if you guys have any questions for him as well, make sure you leave them in the chat throughout the show, and I'll be sure to catch them. But let's bring him in as well, and we're going to have a great conversation today. Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? Good?
It's going great. It's going great.
Yeah, awesome. So
So
yeah,
happy to be here. Thank you.
yeah, I'm so glad you're here. It was so great speaking to you today, and I just can't wait for you to, you're such a storyteller. That's not something that people can do easily. Like, I'm a storyteller too on my show, but I didn't realize how much of a storyteller and how natural it is and how many interesting stories you have, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a trip. I guess it just kind of comes naturally after a while. You've done something so, I've done it so long for so many years and so many different situations, and yeah, it's just, it is what it is. Even though I don't even in my head, I think I'm long-winded, but I try to keep it minute, but we'll see.
Yeah,
it's
no, I
it's
don't.
always fun though.
Yeah, I don't think you're long-winded at all. It's fine. A lot of people will appreciate your stories. So, you come from Oakland, California. Now, is that where you're born and raised as well?
Born and raised in Oakland, California, correct.
Okay, what can you say about Oakland to people out there? Because a lot of people are may not be familiar around the world with what Oakland has to offer and what is they kind of known for.
We're known for a lot. I mean, we're known for the Black Panther Party. We're known for uh, we were talking earlier, musically, Oakland is just a hotbed of music from Too Short to Tony, from Sly and the Family Stone to Larry Graham to Tower of Power, MC Hammer. I mean, it's a who's who. It's and as I talked to you earlier, growing up in Oakland for me, it was a chocolate city
Hmm.
because of the many African Americans that lived here. The numbers have kind of dwindled down. Gentrification is kind of set into a point, but still, this is the home of the Black Panthers, so it's
Hmm.
not it's not coming in without a fight, most definitely. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I said, growing up here was a gumbo pot of everybody. Like everybody on my block. There's one of my best friends was he was Hawaiian, and then I have my black friends, and then I got my a German friend up the block, and like we were just a big bunch of everybody growing up here in Oakland. It was fun.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and that's good to know. I didn't realize Oakland was like that. I thought it was pretty divided, in certain states and different places. So it's interesting to hear that it was a huge melting pot of just different people, different cultures. And I wondered also with you too, because your background, actually, maybe you could tell people what your background is too, as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I was gonna say, so many families came here to work in the shipyards and in the train stations from other regions, mainly down south. So I mean, you got like it's a working class city for the most part. But yeah, I'm Mexican, by the way,
Hmm. Yeah.
and how I kind of we'll get into it. Growing up here in Oakland, my dad grew up in West Oakland, as my mom did. Like I said, blue collar folks. Um, but there was also in West Oakland like a chitlin circuit, so to speak. And so dad grew up and loved black music, i.e., jazz, blues, soul music. So as a little kid, when we drive around and our little various adventures through the city, that was the soundtrack to my childhood growing up.
That's awesome, and you could
Yeah.
really hear that in the music you play. I just want to give a warm welcome to Blade is Truth as well. Good to see you, a gamer here on here. So make sure you guys add her to Twitch. Alicia Breeze, good to see you. I think I just checked out your your Instagram earlier. Thanks for coming through, and welcome everyone coming through to Facebook and also YouTube. This is only my second show on Facebook and also YouTube. But I really want to show you guys what we have here on Twitch and just how special it is because this community is a real special global community. And it's quite different from Facebook, Instagram. And I just want, people knowing, especially on YouTube and Facebook, just how incredible this global community is on Twitch, and to also know that it's not just DJs. A lot of DJs invaded this app. It was originally a gamers app. But now, since quarantine, there's been over 2 million people, streamers, that have now jumped on Twitch. There's 140 million people that actually tune into Twitch right now, and it keeps growing. And there's also cooking shows, there's gamers, there's DJs, there's crafters, fitness shows, talk shows, you name it. So, I think Twitch should just hire me already. Seriously, I market them
I'm
so
just
much.
saying.
Yeah, yeah, I really do get excited about Twitch, and I am explaining a little bit more to people just because we do now have YouTube and Facebook here. So welcome everyone from YouTube and Facebook. It's really great to see you guys. And Alicia, I think you're my second one or third one on Facebook. So that's awesome. Who else here? We got DJ Vance Dell. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate you. We got California in the building. And this is probably some of your tribe coming in too, right?
Oh yeah, California Soul. That's my partner in crime,
Okay,
aka DJ Technique.
California Soul. Nice. And we got Sake. Wonderful, is it?
Oh man, sake.
Great to see
Thank you.
you. He definitely looks like an artist here. And we
Great
got,
DJ, incredible DJ.
oh, we got Bob's, or is it Babs with the Biddies? All right. I like that. Babs with the Biddies. I
What
like
up,
that name.
Babs?
Hey, we got Chris Rhythms, DJ Chris Rhythms from Facebook as well. So welcome everyone. And for all you guys that don't know, I go by DJ Honeyflow. I interview streamers on Twitch, and I'm also going to be expanding to musicians. So if you guys know any musicians out there, or producers, make sure you inbox me because I am definitely looking for more to add on my show and to expand it. We also got it's the one and only JG as well.
That's
So
my girlfriend.
oh, okay. That's your girlfriend. Okay. He was talking about you a little earlier, saying nice things. So I'm trying to give you some points here. I'm trying to get you to, score some points for you. That's awesome, though. So you were inspired. I guess, would you say your inspiration came from your father then when he was pulling out those records back in the day?
Oh, most definitely. Dad was, like I said, he was, generally, growing up as a young man, that's your role model, or your parents should be your role model. Both dad and my mom were, but yeah, I mean, like I said, everywhere we went in the car, it was tuned to KDIA or K Jazz, which was like the soul and the jazz station here. And that was the soundtrack of me growing up. I couldn't escape it, and it just I ingested it fully.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we could tell. Why don't you let them know how many vinyls you guys, he's got quite the vinyl collection. Like it's amazing. Um,
Yeah, at one point I had like probably like around 30,000. I've kind of
wow.
dwindled it down now, and we'll get into that later.
Yeah, 30,000
But
vinyls.
yeah, it became sort of an obsession. I always tell people I'm a music junkie. I'm an addict. So and that Twitch is actually fueling that addiction. Just listening to all the amazing DJs here.
Yeah, it's so true. Now, yes, thank you guys for hosting. I appreciate that. If you guys are feeling the show, make sure you guys follow, make sure you guys host. Helps a smaller streamer like myself get out there on Twitch. So definitely host as well. Wow, 30,000. So 30,000 vinyls. Would you even know how much you spent altogether, like on that? Like how
I've
much is a vinyl back in the day? Maybe
Well,
10,
see,
$20 more?
I've always been the type to be on the cheaper side of, if I see a certain record, a lot of times I'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna find that somewhere else, but I'm gonna get it for, I would tend to dig in like thrift stores and flea markets and just out of the way places that you wouldn't think you would find records at over the years. Kind of how
Wow.
I was taught how to dig. So, a lot of the records, I may have paid $1 for,
Wow.
maybe a quarter or a dime,
Yeah.
unless it's something that I really wanted or something that meant a lot to me or very special.
Mhm.
Generally I'm kind of cheap in that manner.
Wow. Okay, well, that's really good. And do you think is it still easy to find a lot of vinyls that aren't, high priced out there, like at secondhand stores and,
Not
things you're looking for?
it's not as easier, but I still like you can find things at flea markets still, and people end up kind of letting their storage units just go into whatever they don't pay their bills and whatnot. So a lot of times that stuff ends up at flea markets, what have you, out of the
Mhm.
way places. So I mean, you can still find some things here or there, but it's not like it once was though, obviously.
Yeah, and yeah, that's so true. Wow. That's unbelievable, like that collection. So how many rooms would you say you have to fill, um, you know, fill all those records, and they got to be pretty organized too. I was
I
asking you about organization, music organization
Yeah,
too.
they're somewhat organized. Yeah, I narrowed it down to 2 rooms. It was actually 3 rooms, but, in fact, and JG will tell you this, I actually have a few records in the bathrooms.
Really? In the bathrooms?
Like a crate or 2 in the bathroom still. I'm like,
That's
"Okay."
hilarious.
I was
Wow.
just thinking about that the other day. I was like, "I really need to get these records out of the
Yeah, maybe you
bathroom."
should take them out, like but the thing is I feel like records were so durable, like, when we went to the CDs and the tapes were, like, disastrous, you always have to roll them up with your pencil and, like, wind the whole thing. The thing that I was okay about tapes, though, is I do remember someone pushing me in a pool when I was, like, in grade 8, and I had the Diggable Planets tape in my back pocket, and
Oh,
I was
wow.
so mad because it took me so long to buy that tape. I didn't have the money to buy the tape. So I literally, guys, unraveled that entire tape and took a towel and tried drying it, the whole reel of it. It took me like 6
Wow.
hours, and then I wind it all back again and it seemed to kind of work. I think I still have that tape.
Wow, yeah, you need to frame
Yeah, I know,
that.
right? So would you say records, they're pretty I mean, I don't know if you've ever experienced 8 tracks. I'm sure you did maybe with your father. Like, do you find that records are the most durable?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, because you could sit in, there's ways you can clean them and and take care of them. Obviously, it's funny. Yeah, my dad did have an 8-track player.
Yeah? Have
And
you did you ever
I
use
was,
it?
yeah, every once in a while. But it's funny. I was telling the story. There was a thrift store in Fremont, California, maybe like about 20 miles from here. That a number of years ago, uh, I guess nobody really kind of knew about it, and
Mhm.
they had like a little they had like a record store off to the side, a little small, just a little small part of the thrift store. But I found it one day, and all like the good soul stuff was gone, but whoever was buying the records didn't take all the jazz stuff,
Mhm.
and I got like, oh, I can't tell you how many jazz records from that place, and they were all like a dollar a piece, and I would go in there and like 6-hour intervals. Like I'd go in there for like 6 hours and then, go home and then, go back the next day for like another 6 hours and just bury myself in those records. But it was funny. I was telling a story the other day. They actually had 8-track players in there and sealed 8 tracks that I didn't get at the time. I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt for not getting them. But yeah, the guy who actually owned the thrift store liked refurbishing 8-track players. So he actually had like sealed 8 tracks. I remember he had like a Parliament Funkadelic one. He had a bunch
Oh.
of stuff. And yeah, and he had a bunch of refurbished 8-track players. And yeah, like I said, I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt for not getting them.
Yeah. I mean
But I got the
Mhm.
jazz records though.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it's weird if you're a music lover, you do really weird things. Like I remember when quarantine first started, people were throwing out, those speakers, those old and they're so heavy. They're like 5 feet and they're heavy, and they're not powered speakers, right? And I thought they would go out really loud, magnify the volume, but they really didn't. I guess they're really big and heavy, but the volume doesn't go very far. But I was walking and I started running home. I'm like, "Don't get rid of these. Like, don't give them to anyone." And then a few cars pulled up of guys like trying to grab the speakers, and I literally hugged the speakers. I'm like, "These are mine. Like, you can't take them." And I'm trying to just grab each one of them and shove them in my car. I haven't really used them. I've tried, but those are the ones where you have to you have to kind of wire them. And
Yeah, you need an amplifier
yeah,
to
an
play those out.
amplifier.
So yeah.
Yeah. Then I got an amplifier that's bigger than a VCR, but it excites you. I don't know why, like, they're so old, but anything that has to do with music or equipment is kind of exciting to a DJ, I think.
No, and then you could, there's that. And especially with the sound of a record, it's warm. It isn't, it's the frequencies.
Mhm.
There's something about, hearing something off a record as opposed to an MP3. That's, there's the warmth, in the music that you can't. It's kind of hard to describe. A lot of people be like, I don't get it, but if you're, and not to say that I'm an audiophile at all, but just, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. Hey, DJ Cruise One. I do want to get some techniques. I want to get some text too, actually, for sure. I think I only have 5 vinyl records though, and that's it. I'm so fascinated because it takes a while to organize Serato with the like so many folders and stay on top of it. I'm really baffled when I watch guys like you and I've seen some other DJs that have 100,000 vinyls behind them. Like it's insane, and it's like, how do they remain? They must really know their records. Like, how do they, because you're only picking off like a few songs from each record. So
Yeah, no,
it
yeah,
takes some
you really
skill.
have to be tuned. I'm a little lazy in my Serato crates. I'm not gonna lie. I tell
Hmm.
people this all the time. I'm very kind of off the cuff and very spontaneous when I play. But what I do try to do, if like, especially if I have like a gig coming up, like I have something coming up this Friday, I'll sit there, like maybe tonight I'll throw like 20 songs in a crate just so I can remind myself. Because a lot of times when I get home or after I'm done with a set, I kind of play Monday morning quarterback and I'm like, oh man, I should have played this at that time. Or, just to kind of remind myself, I just put like a little crate of things. Just it's there, whether I reference it or not. Yeah, maybe not. But, at least I try to put a little effort into, like, okay, let me let me drop something that they're probably not expecting to hear and see how it works out.
Yeah, that's so cool. Hey, True School, how's it going? Good to see you.
What's up,
Uh,
Ren?
going to be on a raid with them as well, coming up. So make sure you guys look out for that. A raid train as well. So lots going on, lots of different raids. And who else did I see come in the building here? DJ Cruise One, good to see you, and everyone else coming through. Thanks for coming through the Honey Flow Show. Now we got some really interesting stories, guys. So we're going to get right into it as well. I found it really fascinating. The one story that you did tell me on the phone, which was really, really cool, I thought. And it was a story with Janelle Monáe. So, can you kind of talk about what happened there? Just meeting her and how that kind of came about too. It's really fascinating, guys.
About a year into the pandemic, as DJs, we weren't working, so like my savings was dwindling down. It was like, oh man, I got to figure something out. Like I'm not the most popular Twitch DJ, so I'm not making Selecta 720 money.
I don't think any of us are.
But
We wish.
yeah, so I was like, ooh, my pockets are looking, they're looking a little scarce there. And I get a text from a friend, and he lets me know that Janelle Monae's people are they're looking to buy some records. And I'm like, would you be interested? And I'd be like, okay, why not? Like, I could sure use the money at the time, and cool, So I contact her people, and we kind of go back and forth, on like price wise and what they're looking for, and would I have certain things. I was like, yeah, not a problem. Like the collection's pretty vast and it's a solid collection. And I didn't hear from them for about a month. And then a month later, all of a sudden I get a text one day and they agreed to my terms. So I'm like, oh wow, this is gonna happen. So, I start going through my records, and, some things I didn't, some things I wasn't going to sell because they mean so much to me. And, certain records have, they're very personal to me, whether it be a song that my dad liked or something my mom liked, or, depending on the record. So I end up packaging, almost 4,000 records. And in my head, I'm like, because they were like, oh, we'll pay for the shipping and everything. I'm like, you know what? I The shipping's gonna be a pain in the butt. Honestly, I'd rather drive them down to you guys because, it's during the pandemic and I'm like, I could get out of the house. Um, I could air myself out, maybe see a couple friends and what have you. So they're like, yeah, that's fine. You could drop them off with us, and, we'll pay for your gas money and your U-Haul. And I was like, cool. So I pack up, I get a U-Haul van and pack them up, and then start heading to LA. I actually make a pit stop in San Diego to a friend's record store who he just bought a record store like maybe a few months beforehand. My man, Sweet Chuck. So yeah, so I hung out with him for a day, and then I head up to drop the records off, and I end up dropping the records off at Janelle Monae's house in Hollywood. And I'm like, yo, this is okay, cool. And like, mind you, I'm not expecting to see her or meet her or anything. I'm just, you know, talking to the assistants and what have you. So I end up getting to the house. It's a really nice house, beautiful house. Um, the front doorway, you think it opens up to a home. The front doorway, there's a bunch of plants and ivy around it. And so we get the records inside, and the assistant, it was a real hot day. The assistant tells me, "Hey, would you want some water, and would you like to see where the records are going?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" Because they hadn't, I just know they wanted the records. We hadn't really talked to why they wanted them, and and such. So I open the front door, and it opens up to a courtyard with a pool. And off to the right, there's a room where they're taking the records. And I walk into the room, and there's a TV. It's like a TV kind of room, but not real fancy or high tech. It's very homey, which I loved about it. Like a couple leather couches, and there's like a little bar off to the left. And unpackaging the records is Janelle Monae, and I'm like, whoa. And the guy, our go in between was like, if you meet her, don't fan out on her, don't blah blah. I was like, yeah, no problem. This isn't my first rodeo. I've met celebrities before, so not that big of a deal. But it was kind of a big of a deal, even though I didn't tell him that or relate that to him. But yeah, so they're unpackaging the records, and she's putting them on her shelves that she had built because for one, she wanted a record collection, and for two, Stacey Abrams at the time from Georgia asked Janelle Monae to produce a song, produce a video in regards to getting black voters out, getting minority voters out to vote in Georgia. And she made this song called Turntables. So she wanted a collection, and because she didn't have a collection of records. So it kind of, she wanted to use the records for like the video, and for her just for her to have a collection to listen to. And so I was like, wow, like in my head, I'm like, I couldn't think of a better person to have my records because I was such a fan of hers, and still am to this day. And so I got to, talk to her and chop it up with her. And I let her know how, like, big of a fan I was in regards to her career. I was describing certain moments and shows up here that she had done, and, very specific things. And she was like, "Oh, you really been to my shows?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Just like I said, just very specific things to shows. And so, yeah, we had the greatest conversation. And then as I'm leaving, she was like, "Hey, if you ever want to come down and listen to your records, just let us know and you can come down."
Wow. How long ago was that
That was
moment?
about a year ago. Yeah,
I hope you followed it.
just
You
about a
need to
year ago.
follow up again. I know it's the pandemic, but
I know.
you
I
know,
think it's time to probably contact her manager and say,
and then
"Hey,
you
I'm."
need to fake an injury or fake being sick in her place so you could stay there longer. Like just be like, "Oh, sorry." Like that's what I would do. I'd be like, I'm not feeling that great. Can I see where your washroom is?" And then I would just snoop around the house like a creeper, yeah, I'd be the worst person to go with, I think.
She was no, she was honestly just the sweetest. Like, she offered me a drink,
Wow.
and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna be driving, so maybe I probably shouldn't,
And
because
your heart wasn't beating? Like you weren't the slightest bit nervous?
No, no, no. I told you the only time I kind of found out was with Prince.
Yeah, and
And
that's
we'll and we'll
another
and we'll and we'll get to that story too.
Yes,
So
we'll get
yeah.
into it. But you did say a few specific things, and I think this is good that grabs an artist's attention. Because
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
there's so many people that fan out. I mean, I think we were talking about fanning out on Twitch too, which yeah.
I yeah,
Um,
I described, like, especially with her, it was a promo show that she had did up here that I explained to her, you know, because I've been in the music industry so long, and I've dealt with and will dive into that as well. The whole behind the scenes kind of thing. I noticed at her promo show that she had a light person and a sound person. Now, generally with a promo show, especially with a new artist, they're not afforded extra people on the road, but she paid out of her pocket to have a light person and a sound person. So basically, I want to sound a certain way and I want to look a certain way. And for a new artist, you just don't see that. And I caught that really I caught that and I was like, wow, this is, because that's coming out of her budget more or less. Those little extra people, a label would be like, "Oh, we're not paying for so and so," and no, 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 no. That came out of her budget, out of her pocket, and you just don't see that with new artists these days. And this was, man, this was like in the early 2000s and whatnot. So I noticed that early on, and then I explained to you when a show or two later when she had opened up for Raphael Sadiq at Bimbo's, a very prestigious nightclub in San Francisco. Um, Big venue. It's a home. It's like a homecoming show because it's Raphael Sadiq. And she opened up. She had 30-minute slot at the beginning. Um, I guarantee you that the place probably holds 800 people. I guarantee you 50 people knew who she was at that show, including myself. I knew who she was, obviously, but she came out and she grabbed the bull by the horns. Like she came out on some rock star. No, like people were dressed to the nines, and it was like smooth neo
Hmm.
soul kind of vibe. No, she came out on some
Hmm.
rock star. No, you're gonna know who I am. You don't know who I am, but you're gonna know who I am at the end of my
Wow.
set. And she just came out and she blew Raphael Sadiq away that night. Like her set was 30 minutes, just high powered, like it was on some rock star, vibes. And I told her, I was like, and this made her chuckle and her assistants chuckle. So toward the end of her, okay, so on stage it's her, a drummer, her guitarist Kalindo, and she had a guy with just playing around with lights, like kind of dancing around with lights, kind of looking kind of crazy, but it all made sense. At the end of the set, she had bottled water, and so she started kind of spraying the audience. Now, intermission time, we go in the audience into the lobby and get drinks. Sisters were hot because they didn't come to get their hair wet after they got it did earlier that day or the day before, and this broad is out on the stage
Just spraying people.
spraying water
Wow.
on everybody.
I'm
But
surprised she didn't think
I,
about that.
I,
Well,
I
I guess she didn't really care, but
see that she didn't care. Like, no, this is my show. This is my stage. I'm taking it over. Like,
especially with the
and
ladies
I,
getting their hair did. Oh my gosh! And then you're gonna spray water on them.
I
That's
loved
just
it though. It was
like,
so like it was such a rock star thing to do.
yeah.
Like I said, and then here comes Raphael Sadiq on some smooth kind of, like, but she blew him away that night, and she got a big chuckle out of all that, and the assistants, because I think one or both of them were at that particular show. They got a big kick out of that. The fact that I saw that and knew about that, I was like, you had sisters hot in that lava. They were like, oh
Oh,
hell
you
no.
actually said that to her too?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Was she
And she
laughing?
got she got a chuckle out of it.
That's so funny.
She's
That's
she's
so
she's
funny.
such an amazing artist. Like I said, she she wants to sound a certain way. She wants to look a certain way, and whatever it takes to get that done, she's gonna do. And that's it's important. It makes such a difference.
That's so
I can't,
true.
and
Stirs,
especially in regards to sound, because
yes.
people are like, people, oh, blame the sound man or wait. No, no, no. How about you hire someone to roll with you? That way, you can't blame anyone.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would consider that taking a risk, especially if you're opening up for those type of groups. But, when everyone's doing that neo soul type of vibe. But I love that though. I love that she's just original and she's the person she is. And not everyone is looking for the same thing. You know what I mean? And
No,
I even think
exactly.
that on Twitch too, sometimes I see DJ scramble, like if they're on a raid, oh shoot, this person's playing hip hop and R&B or whatever they're playing, and then the next DJ, he's more alternative, and he really doesn't play hip hop and R&B, and then he's playing like SWV and next. You're like, what is happening here? So I think it's good to just, you know, like I think it's good to be true to who you are. So I respect that about her. I like that she did that. Maybe not spraying the water, like that would be a little. I just could imagine some of the women in the front row, But yeah. But Stirs to Soul says she always seems very focused on her image and concept. Do you think that?
Oh, very much so. You'll notice the musicians behind her, they're always wearing like, the suits are kind of matching. And like I said, and what was crazy about the promo show that I had seen, previous to the Raphael Sadiq one was the light person and the sound person both had the same kind of outfits on as well. Like that, you just don't see that. That's what I was just like. I was just, I mean, I was amazed. Like, you just don't see that these days. And somebody that conscientious about, okay, I need to look a certain way. I need to sound a certain way. I want, whatever, any kind of effects to, this is what I want to do. It's her show, and she made it happen. Like I just, yeah, it was wonderful to see.
Yeah, artists could be perfectionists though, I think,
True, true.
like if they really care about their craft. Same with DJs too. But who else do we have in the building here? We got DJ 506. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate you. Um, it's the one and only with us, your lady there, and we got True School. Does she ever come on your show? I'm curious.
She's made an appearance just kind of surprisingly in
I
the
wanna
background.
see you. I wanna see you gotta come on his show. I gotta say, he always does the neo soul set, so I love seeing couples come on, and I don't
No,
know,
you know
maybe
what? Yeah,
I'm just cheesy like that, but I like seeing, partners and couples working together. I think it's
she
awesome.
she actually joins us in the virtual hot tub set that I do.
Yeah, I was kinda looking, I'm like, "What's, going on here?" I don't think I've ever seen that before, so I just saw you, like, I don't know, with your top off in a hot tub. I'm like, "What is this? I gotta check this thing out." 'Cause I just saw a picture of you, that was it. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
get a
yeah.
chance to check it.
I do a virtual hot tub set where I'm obviously topless. And shout out to Team No Shirt. There's a number
Team
of us
no
that,
shirt.
yeah, yeah. There's a number of us who've taken our shirts off on Twitch. Yeah,
That's so funny.
it's just shenanigans. It makes people laugh.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what I try to do is keep it interactive in that I have the chat. They send in pictures of them. I'm like, send some hot tub appropriate pictures. So ladies in bikinis, and I just show the top or whatever,
Mhm.
or men with your shirt off. Come join me in the hot tub, and I put them in the hot tub next to me,
Oh, that's
as,
so funny.
along with celebrities.
Like, you put them in your scenes. Actually, I put some people I steal
Yeah,
people's
yeah.
pictures
Remember? Yeah,
off
I
of
remember
Instagram, yeah, and I create
when
a
when
whole love story, aisle
when,
2
when
story for them.
I was gonna say
So
exactly when in the grocery
I
store.
didn't know you were doing that. That's so funny. Hey, Miss Tiff Star, good to see you. Well, maybe we could collaborate sometime where
Ah,
we do some storyline, some crazy scenes. They go from aisle two to, the hot tub or something crazy like that. And we'll throw Idris Elba and a bunch of them in there. I think Stir
see.
Soul I pulled up
Uh,
too. I stole his pictures and put him in my scenes.
no, I actually Idris is in the hot tub with me
Oh,
at
is
times
he? That's
because
so
I
funny.
gotta, I gotta give the ladies some eye candy because I'm not the eye candy. So, so no, we've had Jason Momoa, Idris Elba, Method
Hmm.
Man.
Hmm.
Who else? But then I kind of go a little off the wall. I have off the wall celebrities too. I have Hervé Villachez. Um, Pootie Tang has been in the hot tub.
So funny.
You never know who's going to end up in the hot
I
tub.
pulled
But
the Old Spice guy in my scene, the Old Spice guy on a horse.
ah,
So
I might have to add him.
yeah, exactly. Oh man, it's fun though. It's fun creating scenes and just using your imagination and putting it to music. Like I have a lot of fun just storytelling and doing that. Hey, we got DJ Ball D in the building.
That's my man,
And
50 grand right there.
yes, and then who else do we have that came in the back door? Anna B, 69. And yeah, so welcome everyone. Thanks for coming through. Oh, I'm so shocked at how many ladies love Method Man. No offense to all the ladies that love Method Man. He's a decent looking man, but
Oh, the
I'm
ladies love
really
Method
shocked by
Man.
that. Yeah, because I always say my mod looks like Method Man, and they go crazy. Like they start doing Google searches on him, and he refuses to put his picture up on Twitch, but I always bug him. He looked like him back in the day. I would say more back in the day. Um, yeah, so I'm just so shocked at the amount of women. They're like, "What, really? Like, where's his IG page?"
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
no,
know. I don't
people
know.
people
Maybe Method Man just isn't really too much of my type, but you know.
people love when Method Man's in the hot tub. They're always like, but the picture
I
I
would
have.
think Boris Kojo, like I would think Boris Kojo, Morris Chestnut, like
Okay, okay,
Amari
okay.
had is it Haddock? I think Hadrick or something. Like I would
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
would think kind of those guys, but everyone loves Method Man. I was like, wow, really? That's like
yeah.
saying naughty by nature, like Tretch. Well, okay, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna get in trouble if I say that. Oh, Blade is True said it's his birthday today. You know. Oh man, wow, you ladies all like him. Well,
Yeah, the
that's
ladies are
fine by
big
me.
on
No
Method Man.
competition for me there. Yeah. Babs with the biddy says Method Man is my third baby daddy. Oh man. Wow. Okay, yeah, you're right, Miss Tiffstar. I'm a sucker for the pretty boys. That's just what it is.
Oh,
Um,
the ODB type?
oh. Oh, old dirty bastard? No way. He's not a pretty boy. You think he's a pretty boy? Or are you messing with me? No, not at all. Yeah. More like a Boris Kodjoe, a common. There you go. I would think people would choose common over Method Man, but yeah, maybe keep Method Man in your hot tub. It seems to be doing quite well for you.
Exactly. I might have to add Common though. I know Baz with the Biddies
Wow,
likes
even Tall
Baz with the
Pumps.
Biddies loves Common.
Everyone here. I'm so surprised. Tall Pump
It
says Method Man brought me out of Lurk. Method Man is Black Man magic. Hmm. To me, that's like saying you like 50 cents. I don't know. I know I'm going to get in trouble. I know, but I don't know. Anyways, we agree. Blade is truth. Boris is nice. I've met him twice actually, and Nicole Parker in Texas. Boris
Oh,
Kojo.
nice.
He was speaking there with his wife, and there was about 5,000 women in line trying to get his picture. Very, very down to earth couple, like, amazing. So yeah, Boris is almost too perfect when you see him, if that makes sense. um, well, that's good. So then also, so you have about 40 years DJing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You're
correct.
saying that's crazy. Do you always feel like you're learning something new or, after all these years or not really? You're just like, okay, I know this, been there, done that.
Oh no, I'm always learning. I soak it. I still like I there's little techniques that people do and even on down to music and the way somebody brings in a record or transitions to a record like there's certain records I play and they may kind of fall out of grace with me where I don't really play them anymore. And then
Mhm.
I'll be somewhere and I'll hear someone else play it and I'm like, "Huh, maybe I need to bring that record back out." Like or maybe the way they brought it in or the way they transitioned it or, it's it could it I'm always learning. I soak it up from everybody. And there's a array of great new DJs out there and even half of DJing is selection. So
Mhm.
it's I'm constantly learning. I soak I soak a soak a lot of up from everyone, honestly.
Okay. Do you still spend a lot of time, like besides Twitch, do you still spend a lot of time just practicing, going over things, or not really? It's just pretty much Twitch?
I practice a little bit, not as much
Mm.
as I probably should, because yeah, I'm on Twitch or just dealing with real life situations. Or
Mhm.
I still like to even go out to clubs and and see DJs and support local DJs as well. So I try to make
Mhm.
it a point. Like I just went last Sunday night, and and saw a female DJ that I've been looking at to. One of the well, we'll get into that whole thing too. Motown on Mondays. She's asked to play my Motown on Mondays party, and so I wanted to check her out in a club situation, and she smashed it, killed it. So she will definitely be making an appearance at Motown on Mondays, Oakland. But yeah, I'm very much down to support local DJs and my brethren and my sister, and so
That's
that's
so
important.
awesome. It is.
As an OG in the game, and especially in the Bay Area, I'm
Mhm.
kind of looked upon. A lot of people call me uncle because I've been at it so long, and I'm viewed in that manner, and I take that to heart. So uh, yeah, I gotta I need to give back and support just as much as anyone.
Yeah, that's so true. There's so much talent in the Bay Area too, like so many great DJs. And yeah, you'll have to send me her name too if she's on Twitch. I'd love to check her out. I'm always digging for more ladies as well, on Twitch as well. So you also, because a lot of DJs don't have this experience, they either have one or the other. They're either like grand turntablists or come from radio, or but you rarely see a lot of DJs that can MC, host, and have that radio experience. So I feel like you're kind of a triple threat in a way because you also came from radio. How did you get to? I believe it's 94.1 FM, right? And if are you still on there too? Are you still live
Yeah,
on radio?
every Sunday night at 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Mom DJs radio, and the mom is Motown on Mondays. It's a party we do around the world each and every Monday night. Um, like 20 cities around the world at this point. I run the Oakland chapter, so but there's the original chapter is in San Francisco, but there's an Oakland version, there's a San Jose version, there's a Sacramento version, there's a LA version, there's a Portland version, there's a Seattle version, there's a St. Louis version, and there's many more beyond that. But I've run the Oakland one for 8 years now, I believe. The
Hmm.
first year was run by my man DJ Crimson, but he ended up going to grad school, and then he asked me to take over about 8 years ago. Uh, so, and KPFA is like a community, a really nice run community station that can be heard up and down California, throughout the valleys and what have you. They came at us and asked us would we like to do a Motown on Mondays radio show because our parties are very popular and what have you, and we were like, sure, why not? And our head man in charge, Mr. Don Gordo, Mr. Motown on Mondays, didn't really have that radio background. So he kind of brought me in because I did have that radio background. I spun on like Sirius and XM and college shows and other community radio shows, and had little guest spots on like like a terrestrial radio like KMEL and KYLD out here in the Bay Area. So he fell back onto me and was like, "Hey, can you help run this?" Or because I had that background, I was like, "Yeah." So we're going on maybe 3 years now, 3 4 years almost.
Hmm.
Every Sunday night, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. It's kind of it's kind of ease you into your Monday, and it's fun. I mean, it's that I could speak about days and days about Motown on Mondays. It's that party's changed my life, honestly. So,
Yeah. Could
but
you
yeah,
have
it's fun.
Yeah. Could you have ever imagined, and that's what I always ask people that kind of come more from radio. So was it more of an online station or was it live stations you were at,
no,
like a studio?
but no, originally, before online stations, where there were like live studio things. But then it's kind of, like I said, I ended up having a show on XM radio, which turned into Sirius for a little while, and then I still actually do an online station on Wednesdays. Usually, I didn't do it this morning, but every Wednesday morning called ADP.FM, which is located in a building in downtown Oakland called Youth Radio, and it's basically a training ground for youth to kind of get them involved with radio, to teach them how to DJ, how to produce their own radio programs, and inside that building they house ADP.FM, All Day Play.FM, which is it's an internet station which a number of us have done shows on, and I still do. I've been doing that for 10 years, and it's kind of the same vibe as the soul music vibe that I kind of bring to it. I do a bunch of the kids that have went through that program. So once they started the station, I was one of the first folks that they reached out to, one of the first DJs they reached out to, and they were like, "Hey, would you like to do a show?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?"
Yeah,
and,
coming.
and yeah,
Mhm.
and considering I had that background, it was a natural transition.
Yeah, coming from a radio background, I would have never imagined like an online internet link 10, 15 years ago being in a studio. I remember having this link and, people in China or Italy or all these people, a few hundred people here and there around the world would be tuning into your show. You had no idea how they would find that internet link, but I would have never thought in a million years that internet or online would over exceed radio stations now, where now a lot of radio stations are actually going bankrupt. Even here, a lot of them are merging because they just can't afford, especially with the pandemic, right? And getting advertising space, and kind of corporate, interested in, just keeping them afloat. So could you have imagined, like, coming from radio, that the internet would have taken over maybe 10, 20 years ago? Like, looking back and then looking now at what's happening?
I mean, maybe slightly when you look at the future, especially with I hate to say it, like the closed-minded folks that were working at radio at the time, like just trying to deal with them. Um, one of the other jobs I had is working for ABB Records, which was the home for Dilated Peoples, Little Brother, Defari, a number of great acts.
Ninth Wonder, you
Yeah,
said?
well, yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like
Brother?
Little Brother, so
Little
that's,
Brother, yeah.
you know, Big Pooh, Ninth Wonder, Fonte. But having work at a smaller label like that, you do a little bit of everything, but one of my main jobs was to garner radio play. So having to deal with, you know, obviously the college and community radio scene we were very much a part of, and we had a stronghold on that whole thing. But then, trying to reach out to the bigger stations and whatnot, and dealing with politics and what have you, you could kind of see where, like, it was kind of beating a dead horse at a certain time. So you could kind of see on the horizon, like, okay, maybe this whole internet thing might, blossom into something. But I could never imagine where it's at,
How
to
do
this
you think,
to
like,
this point.
social media and just being online, the internet has affected music? Like, how do you feel with that? How much it's
It's
changed and affected it?
I mean, I think it's amazing. Like I said, I was telling you earlier, like my oh my god, my Shazams have, like, blossomed into this whole, like, they were I told you they were up to like 500 plus. Just for me being on Twitch, I'm like, "Oh, what is that? Wait, what is Honey Flow playing? Hold on, let me see. Let me click on that." Dude, just to kind of remind myself, like, "Oh man, I probably need to check that out and probably download that later." Like, it's been such an amazing, like, platform, and in so many regards, especially that I told you it fuels my music addiction. Like, I'm an
Mhm.
addict. I need
Mm.
music. I love music. That it's oh it's mind-boggling to me at times, because sometimes I'll hear something and it's like 5, 6, 7 years old, and I'm like, how come nobody ever told me about this? Like, why am I just hearing this now? Like, what? Oh no,
That's
and I-
so
and
true.
and
Yeah.
I feel kind of slighted. Like, how come somebody didn't pull my card on this? Like, somebody should have sent this to me or let me know. Like, hey, have you heard this?
Mhm. That's so true. Mr. Tay 15, how you doing? Says the internet put the power in the artist's hands. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I think that's a
Yeah,
good comment there. And it's
it's a
about time. I feel like it's about time because I feel like when you watch all these award shows and you see what's being played on top 40, there's so many artists out there that are so undiscovered, and they're like the Monets, like you'll never, or the Jill Scotts, or just these incredibly talented artists, and you'll never hear, rarely hear some of those artists being played on commercial radio. So props to like community radio and all the people that have really pushed, local artists and even the DJs too, right? So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's true.
It's been a good thing, and maybe on the on the bad side of things, a lot of, and especially with like my generation, because a lot of them, they've asked me like, Mal, where do you find your music? And like, and well, I have to put in work to find my music. And a lot of folks these days don't have the time, or they don't want to put in the effort to find certain things, because a lot of, it can be jumbled up, because anybody could put a song on SoundCloud and send you a link, and there's so much to kind of sift through, and a lot of people don't have time to sift through that, or don't want to sift through that. So they kind of need that conduit, though. They need those gatekeepers, and to kind of find the music that they're interested in. So
I also
it's it,
wonder if
it's
the internet is more competition, like for artists now, because now you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you're really kind of not battling, but does become a competition between different artists, right? Just like how it becomes on anywhere, any platform where you're trying to build, I guess, your following and build that. Or I wonder if it's actually opened up for just many artists, I think it has opened up because, uh, you know, globally we didn't have that, right? So before YouTube, we didn't really have a lot of platforms to really showcase around the world. But I'm just curious though, because I do feel like the 90s and older, they've had maybe one hit wonders, some of them, and they're still repeating to this day. I kind of wonder if that would happen with the music now because it's moving so fast. I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Short attention span, microwave culture.
Yeah, exactly. Like where you have to pump out a lot more tracks. So, if there's any artists in the room, I'd be curious to hear your perspective. Like, if there's any singers or rappers or anyone that does, is in that field, leave a message. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that. If the internet's actually helped you or if it's kind of done the opposite. Um, I think that would be interesting. And there was also another comment here too. True School says, "Didn't you say Spinurita used to intern for ABB as well?"
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. He was our intern for a number of years.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, and
That's
no,
so
and
cool.
yeah, yeah, my girl Ange. I love to see how she's blossomed on Twitch, and
Yeah, she's
oh man, she's
incredible.
blown up. Yeah, no, it's great to see. You talk about like a music head. She was like a music head, most definitely. Like we've had those interns that were just like like I was like, oh, she's the real deal, and it's great to see. I'd love to see her like just kind of blow up on Twitch and what have you. It fills my heart. I love encouraging younger DJs, and trying to mentor other DJs as well. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's part, you kind of have to give back, or you should try to give back, and help those, especially those younger DJs. Maybe it's even a tip, or, whatever, just trying to encourage them to be better, and to help them along the ways. I mean, it's all about helping one another, and helping somebody further their career. And if I can play a role in that, then yeah, hell yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I love that because I mean, you can be such a guy, honestly, that could have the biggest ego in this industry because you have 40 years experience. Your show really is exceptional when I watch it. Like I feel like it's just very unique the music you put together. It's really tells a story. So, I mean, I always talk about that in this industry. There's a lot of egos, and especially there's a lot of I feel like competition between turntablist DJs and then the newer DJs using newer equipment and even the wedding DJs compared to the club DJs. It's just like always a little bit of a battle. So it's nice to hear someone that has had this much experience and has no problem helping and lifting someone else up. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that all goes into how I was raised. Mama and Papa P, they raised me to to be humble, and what have you, and to help your fellow man or woman. So yeah, that's I attribute that all to them. and honestly, my friends. I always say like I'm just a reflection of the my circle around me. So,
Hmm.
and I try to keep a nice circle.
Yeah, that's great. You sound actually a lot hearing Jazzy Jeff, talk on that too. And Jazzy Jeff was one that talked about it for many years. It wasn't just like today. He's talking about that with DJs and trying to help. It was like even 20 years ago when I had a conversation, with that guy after a show. So everything you're saying is pretty much what he was saying too, because that was a question I asked him. How do you feel about all these people coming up? Because it was more newer equipment back then when you had, I guess, the CDJs and where it was just transitioning into controllers. And, a lot of turntablist DJs were mad and kind of like, well, they're not DJs. What are they doing? Buying all this stuff. They're just kind of faking it. So I asked him that. And he basically said to me, too, he's like, girl, I've been doing this for like 30 years or 40 years. Why would I still continue to do it the older way and carry all this heavy equipment around? He's like, I'm fine with the controllers. I think it's great. You got to adapt to a new age and you got to adapt to the new technology and the new things coming out. So um, that's something that he kind of mentioned too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Your
No,
conversation, what you just said, and him helping people, you just kind of reminded me a little bit of his comments too in the past. Yeah.
oh yeah, no, I do certain gigs with a controller, so
Hmm.
it's the days of carrying records and there's some gigs lend to you know just maybe you're playing background music, so to speak, kind of, especially like I do corporate things. I do things for Google. I do things for Yahoo, Salesforce. Uh, Genentech, well, whatever. There's some of the gigs lend to that, so it just kind of makes sense to like just kind of bring a controller, or
Yeah.
so yeah,
That's so true. Here's another humble guy that his show is truly amazing too. I'm going to be having him on soon as well, guys. Really excited. DJ Michael Motion. He's also producer and works for Spotify and does so many incredible things. Work with so many great artists.
nice.
So and I love seeing that because you would sometimes you don't know. Like I think people have such perception online, right, due to following or numbers and that sort of thing, but you really don't know who you're meeting that his is kind of watching or in the music industry or has had incredible experience, right? But I love those guys that are just like humble like you with it and you just keep doing you and you love the music, and that shines. Definitely shines on your show too as well. So
Thank you, thank you.
yeah. So, you also mentioned, I know when we were talking, you said, I believe you knew someone that signed, I think you went to school with someone that signed on with, just a little label, just a little one back in the 90s. Do you remember that? I don't want to give it
uh,
away. I want you to give it away.
wait. You might have to
I
remind me
mean, it
on
could
that
be
one.
like the initials could be QJ. I mean, he's just a little guy in the
I
industry.
yeah well, I've been DJing it since high school, and then a friend of mine, Jeff Jones, aka Clever Jeff, um, signed a record deal like in the early '90s with Quincy Jones's label Quest Records, and he asked me to be his tour DJ. So we got to travel the country doing shows with him. He had a record out called Jazz Hop Soul. He was label mates with Saphir, who you may know of from being Cousin Harold in the movie Menace to Society. Incredible MC as well. So yeah, I got to travel the country and solidify my kind of industry roots, traveling around with Jeff. Um, I actually got to. I didn't tell you this. I actually got to spend a day in the studio with Quincy Jones.
Oh, wow. That's
Which was
amazing.
which was totally mind-boggling. Like, coming from where I'm from, I'm like, wow, I'm in the studio with Quincy Jones. He was actually working on a project where they were doing some horn parts, and we were all in the studio with him. And he has this ongoing conversation with us, and you swear he's not paying attention to what's happening behind him. the musicians doing the horn parts, and he'll, and he cuss like a sailor.
Hmm.
Honestly,
Oh,
it's just
really?
like
Quincy
he just,
Jones?
yeah, yeah. Oh man,
Really?
yeah.
That's surprising,
He's just,
actually.
I mean, chatty Cathy. He's like, "Duh, duh, 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 duh." But then, like, you don't think he's paying attention to the music, but then he'll turn around and be like, "Wait, wait, do that again. No, no, no. Do that one more time." And then he'll go back into a conversation with you, and or he'll explain something, a little nuance that he wants done, and then he'll go back to talking to, and we're sitting there and we're like, wow, this is kind of mind boggling to see, and what have you. And it was a funny, during the day, his daughter Kadada, who ended up being Tupac's girlfriend, uh, she ends up coming into the studio, and we're all like, and she's really, obviously very pretty, striking. And it was funny because you could see Saphir was actually trying to get at her, trying to
Hmm.
talk to her, but she wasn't trying to hear what he was trying to say. But it was funny. It was funny at the time, though. It made me think about that whole thing.
Yeah, this is definitely that sounds like a movie. I feel like
No, no, it does. It
your
does.
stories, like, feel like a movie, like, I feel like you need to do some type of movie, like, I don't know, like Friday or something, or like The Barber Shop, you're like, "Oh, I was just here, and, now I'm in Quincy Jones's studio, and"
I
and I was just driving to pick up a cheeseburger at McDonald's, and now I end up in, Janelle Monáe's, like, mansion, you know? Actually, was it a mansion? I'm assuming it's a mansion of hers.
No, 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 it's not even a
No?
mansion. It's just like it's just like one floor, but it's kind of spread out. And
Really?
it's not as big as you would think, but
Really?
it's
That's
really
surprising.
it's really homey and cute. Like
You need to
it's
follow
really
up with that girl. If you don't follow up, I'm gonna make sure I'm on you to follow up with yeah, you gotta definitely follow up with her, like, I mean, maybe a little creepy in quarantine, but, just make up something, like, just be like, "Oh, this was my great grandpa's record, and I sold it to you, but I just need to see it one last time," you know? I would just make up anything just to, you know,
Yeah,
um
maybe I should embellish on the
Janelle,
story.
Janelle Monáe, yeah. I would just make up anything to, I think did I say the name wrong? Yeah. Um, but yeah, I would just make up anything, just to stay there longer. But didn't you say also going back to her, didn't you say she was wearing pajamas, like some silky
Yes, yeah, she had
pajamas?
like this fancy little silky pajama set with a little hat. I mean, she's so striking. I
Yeah,
mean,
she
she is
is, she is,
gorgeous.
she is.
Cover girl model and what have you. But just, yeah, like
Better
she
be
was.
easy, you better be easy. Your girlfriend's in the chat here. Better be easy with it. I don't know.
No, she's understand. She's good. That's the
Yeah.
thing, being a girlfriend of a
There's
DJ.
the
You
girl
you
right
you, you
there.
gotta you gotta have thick skin. You gotta have thick skin.
Actually,
So
yeah, that's very true. I interviewed Chris Cutt ages ago, and she said the
yeah.
same thing. She's married to a DJ and said, "You gotta have thick skin in this business, like, especially if you're planning on dating one," and we were talking about that. I'm like, "The guys get far more attention than the females do. I can say that is fact,
I
DJing."
I don't know. I know some females that get a lot of attention.
Well, not the same. It's not this. I don't think it's the same at all. The only attention we get is like a guy, like men will just come up on stage and stand behind you, and they want a whole tutorial, like that Jazzy Jeff's giving on DJing, and you're like, dude, I only have like 2 minutes to get the next song and to talk to the audience, but they want to hear the whole rundown on how like Serato works and everything. But it's good you probably don't get that. That's good you
No,
don't get that.
we get that from time to time.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, people are asking like, but
Dr.
actually,
Post-a-Lot says, "That sounds creepy. How you doing?" We got Mr. Tiny Corn Dog. Okay, that's definitely a name, Mr. Tiny Corn Dog.
no,
Yes, while I'm DJing. Yes, happens all the time to me.
we get that. Yeah. No, we get it all the time. And actually, I think there's an art to like being able to conversate and still do your job.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were talking about a certain DJ off air, and he's one that doesn't like. I noticed like I'm not gonna say any names, but he's one that doesn't like people talking to him while he's DJing, kind of thing. I don't mind it
Mhm.
honestly. I
I
think
don't mind.
I think that
Yeah.
I've done it for so long. I can,
Yeah.
I can carry on a conversation and still DJ and still, but certain people, that's their space, and they don't want it to be penetrated to an extent. So
Mhm. That's so true. DJ Neo Geo, how you doing? Great. I like your DJ name, Neo Geo. Has a
oh
ring
yeah,
to it.
that's family right there. Shouts out
Yeah.
to the Cam
Kind
Beats
of
crew.
sound reminds me of Italian, like Neo Geo, DJ Neo Geo. Anyways, you said that you've missed most of this interview. You can always catch my replay. They're free on my page. So if you guys want to, check the replay, by all means, go for it. That would be great. And one other thing, if you guys want to host this show, the Honey Flow Talk Show, that would be amazing. That would really help a streamer like myself out and just get the word out there. If you guys are feeling this interview, definitely host the show too. Let's see. Well, that is good. And then you also had you were telling me, because you've pretty much done like music, I would say, full time. You
Yeah, yeah,
mentioned that.
I've been in the industry like all my life.
Wow. Do you ever get tired of it? Because if you've been doing it for like 40 years, not just DJing, but like you also said that you were, I'm just looking here too, that you worked in some manufacturing, plant
Yeah, I
or
worked.
firm
Yeah,
for
I worked
CDs.
it. Yeah, I worked in the manufacturing field for a number of years,
Hmm.
up until being a caregiver for my mom before she passed. Yeah, and that was fun too. Kind of playing the behind the scenes kind of role and kind of helping to shape artists. They would come in and like, hey, I need my CD pressed up, and just trying to give them tips and as well that was fun.
Hmm.
Obviously more on the behind the scenes kind of thing, but that was I've there's so many, we dealt with so many artists over those years as well. And it's kind of cool to see them kind of blossom, and
Hmm.
them taking your advice and doing certain things, and it's been amazing. It's another form of mentorship, if you'd like. So yeah, I had fun doing that as well.
And
and
you've
and
also
and
ran
it's
record pools as well. Oh, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The record pool, for those who didn't, weren't aware of record pools. A lot of y'all don't know what records are,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was a conduit in between like a record label in the street where they would service us records. We would charge a small fee, and we would service the records to the DJs and give that feedback back to the labels, which was very important for them. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, I've run a number of record pools, and that was fun as well. And simultaneously working at ABB, where, like I said, we did a little bit of everything, especially working at a small independent record label. Like you'd package things, you'd make phone calls, you'd send out emails, you'd return emails, and you did a
Yeah.
little bit of everything. But it was a labor of love, and especially around those times, we're talking about the days of like Raucous, Stone's Throw, ABB, so many like very powerful small independent labels that put their handprint on the music industry at an interesting time. It was fun. It was yeah, it was good times.
Yeah. Now, do you remember your first piece? You had an interesting story with the drum set, but do you remember your first pieces of equipment and how much
Oh
were
yeah.
they at the time
Oh
as well?
oh yeah. I told you in elementary school I was in the drum corps. Being that I love soul music or anything kind of soulful, I they had like auditions to, if you want to be in the drum corps, and I was like, wow, that's cool. I want to do that. So I ended up being like the captain of the drum corps, and in fact, I got recruited to go to the junior high school that I went to because they had a drum corps, and the um, the music teacher there saw me and she was like, "Hey, I'd like you to come to this is where I'm teaching." Where all my friends went to the other school, but a couple of us went to Claremont, where I was the co-captain of the drum corps there, and we would march in parades, and it was so much fun. But at the time, my parents would never allow me to have a drum set in the house because I'm not. They're not. They weren't trying to hear me make all that noise. So, hip hop comes along and I see the DJ and I like, wow, that's I was fascinated, just kind of blown away. And I was like, wait, we have a turntable. And so I went to the pawn shop and got another turntable. I bought a realistic mixer from Radio Shack, and I kind of became like a little DJ. Like I was like, and the drum set transition to the turntable. It was a kind of a smooth transition. And my guy DJ Baldy, who was our my other co-captain at Claremont Junior High School, we had separated for a year, and then we met up again. And he was like, "I'm a DJ," and I was like, "Oh man, I'm starting to DJ too. So let me go to your house." And so I went to his house one day, and I was just like, "Whoa, this dude is way more advanced than I am. Like, he's on another level than where I'm at." Like, and so yeah, we kind of linked up, and we became DJ partners. So yeah, that was fun. It was good times because it was still fresh, and you have all this energy and what have you. And yeah, that was kind of the beginnings of the DJ career. And in fact, I did my first gig with Baldy. We DJ'd a high school dance at Encinal High School in Alameda, which is right next to Oakland. And I was telling you the story earlier. Three things happened that night. Three important things happened that night. I got paid $50, which I was just like, "Whoa, yo, this is fun." And I had fun, and I got paid $50, and we went to the Taco Bell. That actually, that is that Taco Bell still there? I think that Taco Bell's still there. And when we were in line to get food, there was girls in back of us. They were like, "Hey, that's DJ Malachi," and I heard them, and I was like, "Oh snap! They know my name!" Like I was like, "Man, this is fun. I'm gonna do this again." Like, and here I am 40 years later.
Wow,
still,
that's
still doing it. I tell people all the time, they're gonna bury me with my turntables. I said to myself a long time ago, I was like, the day I'm not having fun and doing what I'm doing, then it's time to call it quits. And I'm still having fun. So
That's so true. Did you ever have moments like that? Because I feel like every DJ has those moments where, sometimes you may just go out and do bookings because obviously you got to get paid, especially if you're doing it full time. And then you just kind of lose your passion a little bit because you're playing, like, let's say, a lot of top 40, or you're playing a lot of things that you may not necessarily want to play. Because as performers, we have to please the crowd. It's not pleasing ourselves. And that's one thing that is amazing with Twitch is you could play what you're feeling, or what you want to play finally, right? So it's a
yeah.
bit different. But how do you did you ever have those moments in, I guess, your 40-year period of, just like, oh, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of losing my passion a little bit, or you're playing some things that you just don't really want to play?
Oh yeah, no, I think we've all had those periods in time where we're like, man, maybe I need to hang it up. Like I'm not having fun, or I'm in a funk. Like sometimes as a DJ, you're like, man, I'm playing the same records week after week. Like
Hmm.
I need to kind of break out of this whole thing. It, it happens to all of us. It happens to me. It happens to, I guarantee you, because I've had this conversation with, probably, every DJ I know. Like, so no, there's definitely periods, and then you just have to hopefully maybe someone says something encouraging, or you may hear another DJ somewhere else that inspires you to hey, let me try something else, or let me try a different genre, or whatever. Let me flip it around and try something different along to those regards. So
Hmm.
it definitely happens,
I think,
and it's
yeah,
happened to me.
it's so true. California Soul says he wants your autograph. you know um Dr. Post a lot says you learn something new every day thanks to Twitch. So
Yeah.
true. DJ Neo Geo says 100%. Oh, who has a perm? I like perms. I still like perms. So it says he's bugging
Hey,
DJ
he did. Hey, hey,
Baldi.
Hey, yeah, he did have a perm.
Really? You had a perm? Okay, you gotta post your picture if you had a perm. Don't hate on the curl. There is nothing wrong with perms, guys. Nothing wrong with perms.
You know,
Did
let
you
me.
ever have one? If you're Mexican, I'm wondering if you ever had curly hair, or not saying all
Nope.
Mexicans have
No.
curly hair, but I'm
I.
kind of wondering if you had that
I.
thick, like, what is it? Remember the guy Rico Suave or Gerard? And they'd have like the thick hair. You didn't have any of that?
I didn't. I did. Okay, I didn't have any of that, and I didn't have any hammer pants. Like
No?
I know a lot of y'all in this chat had some hammer pants. I'm not gonna say who, but no, I couldn't get down with the hammer pants either.
You can get down with the hammer pants. Okay, so what was the fads, or what was the thing that you had? Oh, Geraldo, yeah, I remember him. What was the things, um, you know, um,
um,
that
I
you
mean, I was kind of a fashion whore, like
mhm.
in late high school and like
You
you know
had
the
Mexican finger waves. That's hilarious. Did you?
never, never, never.
No?
Nope, nope.
Oh, I should have
Mm-mm.
grabbed some pictures, some flashback pictures so I could post. That would be hilarious.
But
Ooh, I had
but
curl. DJ Baldy. What did that
yep.
curl look like? Was that like a Johnny Gill type of curl? Like what type of curl was that? That's what I want to know. Was it Deion Sanders or was it like Ice Cube? Hey, if you're from Oakland, you probably had the curly perm like down to your shoulders. I don't know. Did you see a lot of that back in the day?
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
thinking
most
Easy-E,
definitely.
Ice Cube, you know.
No, most definitely. But no,
Oh,
I never went that route. Thank God.
no?
There's the no. Yeah, hey, yeah, if you know, never went that route.
Okay, did you have like a high like a high top box cut or anything like that? No?
It's funny because I shaved my head in like 92, 93. So a lot of my friends have never seen me with hair. It's always been, you know, you know, once I cut it, I never went back. And so every once in a while, I'll post a picture on through social media with me with hair, and people just bug out.
Oh,
They're like,
really? Ah,
they're just like, no way. Like, is that a wig? I'm like, no, that was my hair.
that's hilarious. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Malachi had the kid and play hair. That's what Jack Cadillac says.
Nope.
Oh man. That would require
I
a lot
wish I
of
would have had
hairspray on your
ex-
part, like
exactly
on
no.
both of our parts if you had
I
the
didn't.
kid and play.
My hair wasn't the thickest. I mean, it was cool, but you know, it wasn't the thickest. So
You know, DJ Neo Geo, I did not mind that back in the day. Like Stevie B had a curl with a mullet at the same time. So did
that's
Deion
true.
Sanders. I didn't mind that. I did not mind. Do not hate on the long curly hair, guys. You know, maybe hopefully it'll come back one day, you know. We can only dream here. Oh man. Rack Dog says he had a Gumby cut. So yeah, it's always good looking back, you know, like so many different styles, so many different things. I'm really glad I grew up in the 90s, you know. I can't imagine being, you know, how kids are now, or now being in this whole metis, whatever you call it, metis verse or metis thing, fear, whatever it's called,
Metasphere, yeah.
metaverse or something world, like where that's the only connection is this. Like I can't imagine, you know, I'm glad that we got to experience that and go to those high school dances and, you know, and just have all those moments growing up in the 80s and 90s. Okay, now I'm sounding old like my mom, so I'll just stop now. Fabio hair.
Let me
Um,
exactly. No, yeah, I've always joked with them. I was like, especially with my chat and my friends, I've always said like, if I ever hit the lottery, I'm gonna buy a little Fabio wig because I want to, you know,
you should.
I want to shake my hair and just, you know,
There's lots
and
of guys on Twitch that have wigs, I've noticed. They dress up way more than we do, you know? So you should give it a try.
I'm telling
Grab
you,
some.
if I hit the lotto, it's gonna happen. I'm just letting you guys know. If you see me with like luxurious hair like Fabio hair.
DJ Neo Geo says I had a mullet, must confess. Well, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't hate on the mullets. And speaking of hair, guys, we have quite another cool story I thought that we talked about with Prince, and just kind of like how you ended up just randomly, well, not randomly, but like sitting on the same couch. And something that's kind of related to that. I don't want to give it away, so I'll let you explain that story, the
Let
Prince
me
story.
fall back to that whole kind of being inspired and whatnot. And I've said this because I need to speak on this, or I want to speak about this.
Hmm.
Motown on Mondays is a party. Like I said, I've done for 8 years, and I've been well aware of the party for many years, even previous to that. That party kind of changed my life in a sense. Like I was getting to the point where, like, I was getting a little burnt out of like playing the same songs at clubs, and always kind of same rotations, and the same kind of everything. But I knew about Motown on Mondays, and when they opened the Oakland chapter, I made it a point just to go support because I grew up on soul music. That's what that was my soundtrack to my childhood. So I'm like, the whole premise of Motown on Monday just sounded great to me. So I went and I supported like the first year we all did, and um, it's such an amazing party. And when they asked me to take over, it was very important to me that it be successful and that we hire black DJs. I didn't want our party to turn into like a gentro party. And it's such an amazing party. I can't even tell you like the joy it brings me, and it's much more than just honestly a party. It's very spiritual for me. It's very community based for me, and I'll explain a couple stories. Every few months or so, somebody comes to our party, and usually at the end of the party, they come up and they're like, "Oh my God, I've never been here before, and like I've had the best time." Like people will like cry to me in regards to like, "Oh my God, you guys made me feel so special. This is amazing. Like I love this." One of our regulars, Alexis, we call her Sexy Lexi, came up to me a number of years ago, and she was like, "I have a tattoo in between her forefinger and her thumb," and she goes, "I want to show it to you," and it says, "I love myself." And she goes, "One of the reasons I got this tattoo is because of Motown on Mondays." And I was just like, I mean, I was like, wow. I was just truly touched, and like, and it was funny because a couple weeks ago for Valentine's Day, she gave me like a little Valentine's Day gift. It was a piece of art that she made, and on the packaging, it said, "To the DJ who saved my life." And I almost started crying. Like, it like I said, it goes beyond being a party, and I have so many stories like that. About 2 months ago, another young lady comes in. She's of Ethiopian descent, gorgeous young lady. She comes up to me and she's like, "What's your background?" At the end of the party, and I'm like, "Well, I'm Mexican," because I could see kind of where her head is going, or where her line of questioning is going. "I'm Mexican, but I was born here in Oakland." And, I explained the whole story, being raised upon you know black music and what have you. And she was like, "Wow, a friend of ours told us about this party tonight, and we came. And one of the reasons she came was, as with music is very cathartic for her. So the day before she came, one of her good friends committed suicide,
Oh, wow.
and she told me this and just started bawling and just fell into my chest. And I'm like,
Oh,
no,
man. Wow.
I totally get it. Like I just, and we have stories like that. And California Soul 510, DJ Technique will tell you it's because he's our host. He's so special in regards to that party because he's the only host at a Motown on Mondays party because he makes you feel as you're part of the family. He may crack a joke on you or whatever, but he makes you feel very warm, and that's one of the things we try to make our audience feel warm. Like we've had a young lady who was 83 years old come to our party for like a month straight. It was like 4 weeks in a row. Imagine someone who's
Wow.
like 21, 22
That's
dancing next to
crazy.
someone who is 83. We have a
Wow.
young brother that is like in his 60s. He comes every week. We people who've gotten married, they brought their wedding party to Motown on Mondays. We've had couples that have met at Motown on Mondays that have gone on who have gotten married. So it's so unique. Like it's community, it's spiritual, it's family, it's more than a party for me. And I'm just like I say, it breathes life into me on a weekly basis. Like I love seeing those faces and the OG. And I always try to make it a point. If I see an OG, I need to go talk to them and make sure that they're comfortable. If they need a drink, here, let me get you a drink. Just I always want to make sure our OGs are comfortable and they're safe and they're having fun and just to kind of try to catch their vibe because I want them to come back. But it's dope, like you know, at about a month ago again, there was these young folks that come in and they wanted to hear like Rihanna and Beyonce and all like the younger stuff. And I was like, no, just like just hang around for a little while. Let's see if you could, this is what we do on this particular night. We don't really play Rihanna, we don't really play Beyonce, but we may play songs that they've sampled, but we'll try to make it fun for you. We'll try to, maybe I'll play something that might catch your ear, maybe not. And by the end of the party, that whole little group were on the floor and they're like going
Hmm.
crazy. Like
Hmm.
they had forgot that, they caught the vibe. They caught what we're trying to do. I was like, a lot of the music we're playing, your parents listen to, your grandparents listen to. But we play like remixes, we play like edits, we play like samples, just a little bit of everything. Even though Motown is the base, I could speak about this party for for days. It means that much to me, and it's so special, and like it's like I said, it goes beyond being a party. It's a community. So let me shout out my man Don Gordo, Mr. Motown on Mondays, who's accepted me into the family, and like I said, I run the radio show that we do every Sunday night, and it's like honestly, it's changed my life as a party, and it brought a whole new perspective, to
That's so awesome.
as
I
far
think,
as far
yeah.
as far as me and DJing goes. Yeah.
It's so true. Thank you so much for sharing. I just wanted to say, DJ Dub Kush, got to look at another
Thank you,
computer
Dub
here.
Kush.
Thank you so much for those bits. Appreciate you. Make sure you guys all show each other love, add
Yes.
each other in the room. There's so many DJs, streamers, who, if you do a show on Twitch, just put a one in the chat room. And if you're a mod, put a two and just show some love to one another and add each other. That's how we grow as a community collectively, not individually. So definitely throw up some ones and some twos for each other. And oh, wow. Thank you guys.
There you
Just
go.
some
We
of
got
that.
a hype train.
Oh, wow. We
Yay!
got a
We got
hype
a hype
train.
train.
Oh, man. We got a hype train. I have to look at another computer. Thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate that. Wow. DJ Neo Geo. I feel like
Thank you,
going like
Neil.
this with my hands. Neo Geo. Like I don't know. I'm just assuming he's Italian. He probably
No,
isn't,
he's
but
actually Filipino.
oh, okay. But Neo Geo kind of has that ring to it. Thank you so much for the subscription. Wow, it's the one and only JG. Thank you so much for the bits and for kicking off this hype train, guys.
Yeah.
Um, who else here? Oh, DJ Malachi. Wow, you have to. You're my guest here. Thank you so much for those bits. Appreciate you as well. And DJ Neo Geo again. Oh wow, and again. Oh wow, DJ Neo Geo. Thanks. And DJ Dub Kush. Appreciate all you guys and everyone supporting on this hype train. Miss Tiff Star as well. Thank you so much for those bits. I think it's showing level 175%. So thank you guys. And just
Yeah.
so
Let's get to level 2, y'all. Come on.
and just so people understand, because again, this is only my second show going to Facebook and YouTube. I still have to figure out Instagram on StreamYards. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I'm trying.
You'll get there.
Yeah, so for all you guys that don't know, from YouTube and from Facebook, we have hype trains here on Twitch, and it's just kind of showing love to the streamer by giving bits or subscribing to your channel. So in case you're wondering, because you don't really see it all through StreamYards,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you see it on another computer here. But I did know that StreamYards is working on adding that into StreamYards, hopefully. So hopefully that will work too. But thank you so much, Dub Kush, for those 100 bits again. Oh, Malachi again. Sheesh. For those 100 bits. Thank you so much. Level one, it says 88% on this hype train. So thank you guys. I really, truly appreciate that so much. We got
And
D.
you know what? While
Mhm.
I'm at it, let's in that same kind of lane, that same kind of vein. We didn't get to talk about this earlier, as far as like, um, you know, having to go through those doldrums as a DJ. So what it explains to my journey with Twitch and what have you. Um, oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We'll get to the Prince story,
oh
but
yeah. One other thing, sorry, I'm just going to thank a few other people before we
oh,
start
go ahead,
here
go
too.
ahead.
And yeah, before it gets lost on this computer. But yeah, DJ Neo Geo looks like he just subscribed, or he gave a sub to you, DJ Malachi. So thank you so much
Thank you,
for the
Neil.
subscription. California as well. Oh wow, geez, you guys, what are you doing here? Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I can't even keep up here. Babs with the biddies, thank you so much for those 300 bits. It's the one and only JG. Thank you so much for the bits. And DJ Neo Geo again. Wow. To giving a subscription to California as well. Sometimes I mash up a lot of names, so forgive me when I'm looking at everything. And DJ Dub Kush, DJ Malachi again. It looks like we're level 280% on this hype train. So thank you guys, Miss Tiff Star, everyone coming through, everyone lurking. Really appreciate it. You know, as I grow and develop these shows and just interview streamers, it's just been a blessing with the last, year meeting so many people globally. And I know Twitch is such a special place because everywhere we travel to in the world, we're always going to know at least one person now, so I think that's truly amazing. So let's see here. I'm just seeing where we're at before we continue. Oh, Dr. Post a lot. Thank you so much for those bits. Oh, DJ Malachi, what are you doing here? Oh my gosh, 5 gifted subs. Wow. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. Um, Wow, we're already on a level 4? Really? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I just want to make sure I don't miss anyone. It's the one and only again, and Babs with the biddies. Thank you guys so much. Wow, level 4. Can't believe this. I feel um, so much gratitude as well, especially just having you on, having everyone on, and being open with your stories because I think it's really important. We don't just talk about the highlights and accolades, but we really talk about, and I know we're probably going to get there as well.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about
That's
the
what I
real
do.
truth, right? That's
Yeah.
that's something I really, really want to bring out on my show. Those real stories. Um, Wow, level 4, it says 70 or 7%. I feel like I need sound effects for you guys. Like Tweak, you know how Tweak's like burp, 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 burp. Like I can't really, do that. So maybe I could try beatboxing or I'll get Miss Tiff Star to
Uh-oh.
like rap or beatbox. I can't do that either. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. California love for sure. And Dr. Post a lot again for those bits. And again, Malachi, wow, for those 5 gifted subs.
Oh,
Um,
no problem.
it
No
says
problem.
level 4 here, 20%. But
Yep.
I have to figure out the sound effects. I don't know if it's too much, but I definitely love how Tweak always like drops bombs and drops like he's got like his whole sampler there, like hitting all the buttons. Um, so let's see here. All right. Well, yeah, we could definitely keep continuing, and I just didn't want to miss anyone. So
Yeah, yeah.
again,
No, no, most
uh,
definitely.
California Soul, thank you again for those bits and all the love. Wow, I'm so humbled tonight. Uh, level 4, 21%. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, let's continue because I know, and I didn't want to interrupt you, so I want you to keep going. But I guess the next question I was going to ask you as well, and I know we talked about this on the phone, just in terms of you DJing, but just basically how life has been in quarantine as well for you. Like, some of the things that you've been going through and how you've been kind of pushing through as well, too.
Yeah. We were talking about uh, so. Oh, there's an echo I'm hearing now. Hopefully that
Oh,
doesn't.
is there? Oh,
Yeah.
sometimes if you unplug your headphones and plug them back in, it should
Oh, okay.
work. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't hear an echo from my end. Do you
Okay.
hear it?
Uh, no, it went away now. So right before quarantine, I explained I had been caregiver to my mom for the past 5 years, and about about 2 months before quarantine, we had a fire in the house where she kind of an accidental fire which she set, and luckily I was able to get her out the house. But a couple of weeks later, she ended up losing her life. And previous to that, maybe 2 months before that, or a month or so, I had actually had like a slight heart attack in regards to
Oh,
just it
wow.
was very stressful taking care of mom and what have you, and luckily it was just a slight heart attack. But I was able to survive, and just the stress of taking care of her, and then on top of that, a month later, we have a fire in the house. Actually, where I am now, it was uh, in her bedroom. I got her out the house. Luckily, the house didn't burn down. We just had significant fire damage to our upstairs. I was downstairs at the time. I woke up after doing a gig and smelled smoke, and I was like, you know what? Let me check up on her just to make sure. And sure
Hmm.
enough, mom had accidentally set fire to the house. She was 90. Wait, hold on. She was 90 at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. She had a remarkable life, but we ended up losing her a few weeks later. Actually, on my birthday, kind of crazy.
Really? It was on your
Yeah,
birthday?
yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So, uh, uh, a week before, she had. Let me backtrack. So, she got out the hospital and she was staying with my cousin. My cousin is a retired caregiver, and maybe 2 years ago, previous to that, my cousin had saw how I was struggling, taking care of mom, and she suggested like, why don't you drop her off with me for a couple days, and then you could kind of just clear your head and what have you. So I would do that, for the next 2 years, and it kind of brought us closer back together because we had kind of, for whatever reason, we weren't as close as we were. So, and mom was very comfortable staying with her. And so we had got her out the hospital and took her to my cousin's house in Richmond. And she had fallen out of the bed. She was very, she hated the hospital. She hated being locked up in the bed. And she was trying to get out of the bed, and she ended up falling onto the ground. And we didn't find her till, a few hours later, but we got her cleaned up and back in the bed. And one of the hospice nurse said, I've seen I've seen cases like this before. She probably is only going to live a couple more days. She ended up living like a whole nother week. And after a couple days, I went and talked to her, and she was she was awake, but you couldn't tell that she was understanding what you were saying. And I asked her, I was like, well, mom, you've made it this long. You could make it to my birthday and wish me happy birthday. And so an hour into my birthday, she passed on. Like she
Wow.
knew, like she
It's
heard me,
crazy.
which
Yeah.
was like, like mind boggling to me. I was like, still to this day, I'm like, it's, oh man, it's
That's
crazy.
unbelievable. Like,
Yeah. So,
good story.
yeah, no, it is. And so then a month later, here comes quarantine. And so my brother had lived with us, and he lived upstairs where the fire was. But because of the smoke damage and whatnot, he wasn't here. So I was in this house for like a year with nobody here with me, but by myself, which is just friends would come by and say hi and check up on me, but still like, and after quarantine, we all saw D Nice, and I'm like, wow, I could DJ at the house, and that's something I love to do. So we all jumped on Instagram and Facebook and started DJing, and getting our streams pulled because of copyright issues.
Hmm.
And then here's Twitch, and I'm like, oh wow, okay. And so I didn't immediately hop on Twitch. I hopped on as just a viewer, and I was like, wow, this is cool. Like, because when I was on Instagram and Facebook, there were certain songs you couldn't play, and it got to the point where I was pretty sharp and I was pretty good with this. I'd say to the chat, I'd be like, "Watch, I'm gonna get the stream is gonna get pulled in the next like 2 minutes because there's a certain song that I'm playing that I know that I'm gonna get flagged for." And sure enough, that happened a couple of times. Like I could predict when I was gonna get pulled, and so I got tired because I would have to kind of change the way I DJ'd or the format that I was DJing, or I couldn't play certain songs, and that just that became just tiresome to me. And so finding Twitch, I was like, wow, the streams are not getting pulled, and this is really cool. And so I eventually hop on Twitch, and just like it's a lot of people from Facebook and Instagram didn't follow us over because they're like, oh no, I'm not another platform, and I'm not going to join this and whatever. And it could be very frustrating as a DJ, but for me, it was very comforting that I was at home and I'm DJing, and all these people from wherever are watching me, and they're kind of vibing out with me, and they're keeping me company, which is like
Hmm.
I could never put a price on something like that. Like, I'm in this house alone,
Yeah,
and was
for
in this
sure.
house alone for a year, and like, shit, I got lonely. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
I'd cry. I mean, it was really tough for me, and Twitch was such a great conduit for me to build these new relationships and these new friendships, and I get to listen to all this great music. Like, I can't. It's been a godsend for so many of us, and I'd get texts and whispers and DMs in regards to, like, man, thank you for playing this this one night, or thank you for, and I'm always explaining, no, thank you guys for being there for us DJs.
Hmm.
It's a two-way street, and it's been amazing. Like, like I said, the relationships I forged with all these different DJs, hanging out with Selector when he came out here for Boom Bap Mondays, and we have this whole kind of bromance thing going on, and JG will tell you about it.
I was
But
gonna say you guys are very, like, I even said that when I listened to his show and your show. There's just something about you guys that remind me of each other, and it's not because he's like Italian and Jewish and you're Mexican, or like you're into, soul music. Well,
yeah.
it's definitely the soul music, definitely that vibe. You guys just give a different energy, a different vibe to people, and I feel like you guys need to check your DNA. I feel like you guys can pass. I think you guys could kind of pass for cousins somehow. There's definitely similarities I find. I don't
No,
know if
there's
anyone else says it. So I could see the bromance developing between you guys.
there's a serious bromance going on between me and him. So,
Yeah,
but just
exactly.
all these, and just but all these amazing, DJs and streamers and just great folks. I mean, folks
Hmm.
like yourself. I mean, you're not only you're trying to use this platform for good, like to help folks out, like, and it's and you know, being in contact with all of these different personalities and all these,
Hmm.
these crazy folks. We call
Hmm.
our we call our chat. My man Jairus named the chat the classy degenerates, because
Hmm.
we do tend to drink on our streams at times,
Hmm.
and you never know where the conversation's gonna go. I
Yeah, I
mean,
think
we're
I've been in one or two. I was like, maybe I'll just lurk today and not jump in the chat and just kind of like not be a creeper, but sometimes I'll do that in chats where I just kind of lurk in here because I feel like some guys are very different when they jump on my streams. It's like I don't know if they feel like I'm their mom or something, but they definitely make it a little bit more, different when they hang out with me. So I actually jumped in another DJ's room and I saw him doing like all kinds of crazy stuff. I was like, I am not even going to say anything. I'm going to just watch him, you know. But I thought it was funny because I'm like, how come I've never seen this side to this guy before? He never comes in my room that way, you know. So it was kind of interesting. I think it was 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, let me just lurk in the background and watch him.
No,
but
no, exactly. Like
but that's good. But yeah, but I was going to say, you know, going back to what you said, you know, I really appreciate you just opening up, and you know, I thank you for that, because you just don't know who is also, you know, encountered loss. And I just wanted to send my condolences to you. You know, grief and loss, by all means, I know that very well, and that takes so much time. You know, and don't rush your time frame for it, you know. And music has definitely saved, I think, all of our lives. I know DJs, I know people say DJs saved other people's lives, but music is really good therapy. You know, it's always something that has gotten me through the good times and the bad times, and it's going to continue to get me through, you know, all those times. And it's the same with everyone else that's on Twitch right now, right?
oh
But I
yeah,
would say is also try to refuel too, because sometimes we pump out so much energy, especially on our shows, to people. And sometimes our tanks could be empty a little, you know? So sometimes it's good to kind of pull away. It could be addictive though, because if you're such a music head, and you clearly are, sometimes it's good to kind of take that time for yourself and reflect, you know? And you'll have moments, you'll have lots of moments through songs, you know? Sometimes when I play Aaron Hall, like I Miss You, that's a huge trigger song for me. End of the Road, you know, I've played those songs at funerals. It's like those songs just bring back Brian McKnight, just bring back a flood of memories, you know? But yeah, it's definitely good to always hold on, you know, always hold on to those good times, those good memories, and you know, and know that there's still purpose. Like as long as we have breath here, like I truly believe that there's still purpose for each and every single person, you know, to complete. And no job is small or big. Like even when you're playing music, some of the stories you've been sharing tonight are unbelievable, like how it's really helped other people, right? So
oh yeah,
sometimes I say, as DJs, we think, oh, well, you're just doing a show, or oh, it's just for yourself. Well, no, it's actually not for yourself. You know, there's so many people viewing in this time, especially quarantine, that you could literally be saving someone's life in your chat room. And I know it sounds a bit deep, but I feel like it's the honest truth, you know? So keep doing what you're doing, because I really truly believe you're a bright light. Like to your show provides that through the music and, you know, what you do. And I think it really definitely helps people, like you mentioned, you know?
oh yeah. No, I mean it's helped me, and I love helping others. Like yeah,
Hmm.
music is is so cathartic for me. Whether I'm sad, whether I'm happy, whether any emotion, I'm listening to music. I mean, I it's such a part of my fabric and how I am and how I live and my being. It's yeah, it's and like I said, just all these amazing people that I've met through. I try to tell folks all, especially if they're considering being, streaming. I was like, man, there's a lane for everybody. Like, I mean, whether you're playing 7-inch records, whether you're playing polka music, whatever,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter. There's a channel in here somewhere that somebody's doing something that, that even beyond music, like your cooking shows. I mean, early on when I was kind of, exploring Twitch, I saw a young lady working on a puzzle, and she was sitting there, and there was like 50 people in her chat room, and she's just sitting there working on a puzzle and chatting with the people, and that's all she was doing, was just working on a puzzle. And I was like, wow, how fascinating and cool is this?
Hmm. It's so true. Like people are sitting in their bedrooms with like 1,000 people
Yeah.
just watching. They're just talking. It's insane. Like I just came across a few singers and people, because I've been checking out DJs so much, but like checking out what's out there, hitting the discovery tab on Twitch, I'm like, wow, I'm seeing so many different shows, crafters, gamers, talk shows, like it's fitness shows. It's really incredible, you know?
No,
Um,
it's really it. totally is and incredible. Like it's just like wow. Like sometimes you're just like wow, look at this. Like yeah, you have to kind of I know we're all we love music and we're focused on music, but take a chance to kind of just search around Twitch one night and just you'll be amazed at what you find and what you'll
I'm
see.
surprised you're not with those hot tub girls if you have a hot tub show. You know, some of those hot tub girls, I don't know. I'm surprised you're not with them. I won't even go into that, but I because I heard those girls were the ones that blocked us from, like, now we can't do whispers to subscribers, or we can't do certain things on our shows because of the
Oh,
hot
okay.
tub girls. So, so I don't know, maybe you'll be in the hot tub thing eventually with you. I got to check out now. I'm curious about your hot tub show, you
Yes,
know.
yes, yes,
So,
yes.
oh man, DJ Mark Maiden, yeah, don't ask. Forget it. I won't talk about it on this show. DJ Mark
Hey,
Maiden.
Mark, we're gonna have to do some reconnaissance, some intelligence, uh, uh,
Yeah.
work.
So I was gonna go back. Thank you, Mr. Tay15 for the bits, and also California Soul for your for the bits. Dr. Post a lot earlier as well too, and just completing the level 4. Wow, hype train. I definitely feel a lot of gratitude tonight. So thank you guys so much for supporting the Honey Flow show and just sticking around and hanging out with us. Now, if you guys have any questions, we definitely have a few more stories. Do you have a few more minutes? Because I want to respect your time too. I know it's close to 7 here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. I could. I'm a chatty Cathy at times,
Yeah, I love
but
that though. You really are. I
I got
like it.
let me
Yeah.
fall back to Baldy
Tough,
and
tough
let me
connections.
tell my Prince story.
Yes, the Prince story. But
Actually,
another thing I was going to say is I talk about aisle 2, finding love in aisle 2 of your grocery store, Costco's, and any aisle 2 basically in the world. But you mentioned that at your events you had connections, like you had connections made, or people got together
oh
or were
yeah, yeah.
married. I got to go to
Yeah.
your event then, because something must be happening there that's not happening, clearly
It
not happening
it's
here in Canada.
it's funny. Actually, I had another friend, but they ended up getting divorced. I
Oh.
recently found out, but they came to hear me DJ one night, and it was their second date, and he was like, "Man, I remember the songs you were playing,
It's the
like,"
soul
and
music.
yeah, oh yeah, no, most definitely. And he was like, "Man, if you could make a mix of that music," and I still have to do that. I'm not gonna. I was gonna like kind of put them as the cover, but now that they've broken up,
Oh
they're divorced
gosh.
now. So, but no, they were. He was like, "Man, you played this set like." And we both remember it, and I was
It's
just
like
like,
a
"Oh,
Love
wow."
Jones set. I feel like if I close my eyes, it's like, whoa, this is a real neo soul. Like I need to be at an open mic. I need to be painting with someone. Like I need to be doing pottery like Ghost with someone after I listen to your music. I don't know. I have a weird, vivid imagination, guys, when it comes to, I guess, romantic movies. Who knows?
No,
So
no, 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 no. You know what's funny? Before I came on stream with you, my obsession is well. So when I'm not listening to music, I tend to watch kind of. I love TV, but I have a certain kind of little place in my heart for like bad TV,
oh, like
or
reality
certain.
TV?
Yes, and I am so obsessed with the new season of Love Is Blind. Like, oh my
Oh, I
god.
haven't seen that yet. I gotta
Yeah,
check that.
I think I'm 4 episodes in, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, man," like, even though I'm probably gonna stream later, I'm like, "Man, I wanna just plow through and watch it all." But
Yeah, Jack Cadillac says, "You know you've made it when you show up at DJ Malachi's hot tub." What was the other? Oh, Junior says, "Oh, a slow jam set will have me sipping. That will have me messed up." Yeah, he's always messed up every Sunday night with me because I play slow jams, and he always says he's always on the corner, by the wall, just dancing by himself. And ladies, this is who we're talking about. That reminds me of Method Man. I mean, his back in the day shots look like Method Man
Oh, snap.
for sure.
Oh, snap.
So yeah, the ladies were going crazy over Method Man earlier. Stirs to Soul says people meet and fall in the tub. Oh man, I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you, Stirs. Thank you so much, DJ Mark
Oh, Tiff Star,
Maiden,
you Tiff
for
Star,
those
you
bits.
finished it. Okay, okay.
Let's
Don't
see.
don't mess it up for me though.
Oh, Stirs to Soul says Tub Connection. So I'm just reading some of these comments here. What's this here? Mr. Tay says, did y'all know Malachi got his start playing tambourine for low Rawls? What's that? What's going on here?
It's Lou Rawls, but
Oh,
yeah,
Lou Rawls? Oh, whoops.
Mr. Tay is a
I said
jokester.
low Rawls. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, Love is Blind. Yeah, I'm all about reality TV, which is so horrible. But I like
But
all those dating shows. What about Married at First Sight? Have you ever seen that? Can you
you know
imagine
what?
marrying someone at first sight?
I see.
Like,
I need to get into that one. You know, my other addiction, and it's the one and only JG has me got me onto this one is love during lockup or love after lockup when
oh,
the people date the inmates.
yeah, I kind of watch a little bit of that. I don't like it too ratchety though. Too much like 90 Day Fiance is giving me a headache now. A lot of it's scripted, eh? You think it isn't, but I actually thought I thought those shows were true, you know? And everyone's like, it's all scripted, right? Like they're not just going to go on in front of a billion people um, just to share their love story. But there's always love for everyone, when you watch like 600 Pound or whatever that thing is on TLC. And not saying anything about anyone, but what I'm saying is you always find like 1,000 pound foot, person with like someone that is like 90 pounds. And I'm like, that's interesting. Like I wonder how they fell in love. So there's always love for everyone out there. It doesn't matter, who you are. There's always someone that's going to love you. It's just you just got to get an aisle too. So California says the Prince story,
Okay,
please.
okay, here
He's
we go.
waiting
Here we
for
go.
it.
Here we go. Here we go. Okay,
Yeah.
so
He doesn't want to hear about love,
yeah,
like
exactly,
clearly.
exactly.
He's like, get over it.
He has a girlfriend. He's good. He's
Yeah.
set.
Yeah.
He's a pretty boy too. But okay, so 6 years ago from last Monday, Prince is doing his microphone and piano shows, and he does two shows in Oakland at the Paramount Theater. I try to get tickets because I'm a Prince fanatic. I love Prince. I love everything Prince. Well, not everything. There was the period of the late '90s and early 2000s where he was putting out those shitty albums. Sorry.
Hmm.
Um, um, so I tried to get tickets. I couldn't get tickets. So uh, the homies, Russ and CJ, the world famous Rick and Russ show, they decided to do a DJ night at a friend's spot where they're playing Prince, basically for all the people that couldn't get tickets to the Prince show. So I'm like, I'm gonna go support that because I couldn't get a ticket. So that Sunday night, we go down and we're all hanging out, listening to Prince music. And so the first show lets out basically. And so a few people trickle in and, hanging out, and not as many people as we thought, but whatever. So we're just sitting there drinking, knocking them back. And I look on Facebook, and a friend who is very locked into Prince says there's an after party in San Francisco. And so we're like, and I look at my boys and I'm like, okay, one of us can get us into that party. Somebody knows somebody who can get us in. And so we start texting, we're on our phones, we're all texting. And about 30 minutes later, a friend, my man Rick from Rick and Russ, Rick is like, hey, I got us, we're in, we just got to go. I'm like, all right, cool. So we hop in the homie Jerry's car, we go to San Francisco, and we're pulling up to the venue, and it's a huge venue, and there's a security guard out front, but there's no line for people. And we're kind of like, man, is this really happening? Because there should be a line. Like, this should be like a line down the block. Like, this is Prince. But so we drive past the spot, and about a half a block later, we find a great parking spot. So we park, and again, another sign of like, what's going on? Like, you never get a great parking spot like that. And so right as we're about to get out the car, this car pulls up next to us, and it's my friend Rick's friend who got us. She gives us these passes, and they say like Live Nation Prince guest. And she was like, "Here, just go on in, and the party's happening." She was like, "All right, well, cool." So we go on in, and there's a front room to this club. It's a huge club, and there's maybe like 30 people in the front room, and it's a big room. And we're like, "Oh man, like nobody's really here." And then we go into the main room where the DJs are. They're playing Prince music and playing funk and whatever. And there's about maybe 75 people, and it's a huge room. And so we kind of look at each other, and I was like, "Well, let's just go to the bar." And so cool. Like, we go to the bar, get a drink, and there is a VIP section. There's a mezzanine, and then there's a VIP section that overlooks the main part of the club. And so we're like, "Hey, we got these little stickers, these little badge things. Let's see if we can go up." And so we show up to the security person, and the security guy's like, "No, no, no, no. You're not allowed up in the VIP." And we're like, "Oh well, let's go back to the bar and get another drink." And we lose our friend Rick. He goes wandering off somewhere, and we see some other friends. We see my girl Kim, who's the one who posted about the after party. And then, sure enough, maybe like 15 minutes later, we look up and we see our friend Rick, and he's like waving us up, like, "Come up to the VIP." And we're like, "Oh, okay, shit. All right, well, let's try this again." So we go up. It's a different security guard this time, and we show him our little badge thing. And the guy's like, "Yeah, go ahead, go on up." We're like, "Oh, cool." So we go up to this little VIP section. There's about like 15 people in it. It's kind of intimate, but you know, but one thing we notice is the drinks are free at the bar. So we're like, "Oh, hell yeah, free drinks. This is the best." And I get a drink and I turn around, and immediately staring me in the face is Apollonia from Apollonia 6. And I'm like stunned. I'm like, I got my mouth open. Flies are going in and out my mouth. And I'm like, "Holy shit, it's Apollonia." And all these people come rushing up to me, and they're like, "Hey, can you take a picture with me and Apollonia?" So suddenly there's this whole line of people that want to take pictures with her, and she obliges. She's the sweetest person ever. So like everybody keeps handing me their phone and like, "Okay, here, can you get another one with a flash?" Okay. And I swear it must have been like 15 minutes. Like all these people are taking pictures with her. And then finally at the end, I take the last picture, and she says to me, "Hey, why don't you and I take a selfie?" And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm still stunned. I'm like, "Holy shit." Like Apollonia asked me to take a selfie. And so she grabs my phone and she takes a selfie, and she gives me a kiss on the cheek while she's taking the selfie. So I have that picture of her, kissing me on the cheek while taking a selfie, and I'm like, "Oh." I mean, you can't tell me anything. I'm just like, my mind is blown. And then I kind of look over to the side, and I see Brenda and Susan from Apollonia 6, the other two members, and they're sitting on the couch kind of next to her. And but they weren't so chatty Cathy. They seemed very reserved, and they weren't really talking to anyone. Um, but Apollonia was just like, she was the life of the party at that point. And so I go back to the bar, I get another drink, and I turn around. And here, let me a little bit more to the backstory. So they were in town because it was the weekend. It was the same weekend of Vanity's funeral, and she spent some time living in Fremont. So that's where the services were, which is a few cities away from Oakland. So they were all in town, including like Jill Jones, I wanted to say, from the Prince camp. They were all in town for her funeral, and then they went to the show, and then they came to this after party. So I go back to the bar, I get a drink. I'm on cloud nine. You can't tell me anything. I turn around and I see a little afro coming toward me. And I'm like, "Holy shit, it's Prince." Now, mind you, there aren't any bodyguards up in there. There's maybe bodyguards like 10 feet away, like not even like paying attention to him. And I'm like, "Oh shit, like what am I gonna say to Prince?" Like, I don't want to fan out on him. I want to say something kind of clever, and I don't want to say anything like goofy. And so he's walking towards me. It's just like a little aisle. And I'm like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And I couldn't think of anything. Like, I kind of fanned out. So I do one of these. I give him like a little nod of like, what's up? And then he sees me and gives me like a little nod of like, what's going down? And it just kind of walks past me. And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta say something to him. And it turns out like that VIP was just friends and family and a couple of randos. And randos meaning me and our friends. So I start texting people. Like part of me was like, maybe I take a selfie of myself where he's in the background. But I'm like, no, I better not do that because they're gonna kick me out.
Too
But
obvious.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I did. Yeah,
Like, it's
you
not
know.
like you're just gonna take a self,y and he's like, right,
Yeah,
yeah, too
yeah,
obvious.
yeah, yeah. That really wouldn't have worked. I was like, oh shit, I can't do that either. Um, so I start texting people. Hey, tell me. I'm in this VIP with Prince. I need a question. I need to ask him something. Whatever. Say something to him. What should I say? But it's a Sunday night, so everybody's like asleep. So nobody's replying back to me. And a few people reply back, but they're mostly like, "Oh my god, no way. Tell him I said hi." I'm like, "Oh, get out of here with all no."
Yeah.
And so like I couldn't think of anything to say the whole time. And I find myself kind of leaning on a couch. Maybe I didn't text you, probably not, because you're not that big of a Prince fan, tech. And so um, I'm leaning on this couch on the backside of it, and sitting on the couch like a foot away, 6 inches away, is Prince. And as I turn around to look at his little fro, the first thing I thought, or first thing that popped into my mind was like, I could totally fluff it for him, fluff his fro up
That
because
is hilarious.
he had did two
Oh my
shows
gosh.
that night, so he worked his butt off. So and his fro was kind of sagging a little bit, but in my head I was like, man, I could totally like fluff it for him. Obviously, I would have like got kicked out and like beat up probably, but
Can
you
you
know, I
imagine if you would have said that to him? Like, "Can I just fluff your
can I fluff your
fro?"
fro? Yeah, no, and it was
You know
and it
what you
was
should have done? You know what you should have I'm thinking about this because he's a huge baller, basketballer. You should have, like, talked maybe ball with him or something. I don't
See,
know, like,
yeah,
come up with something?
exactly. And those who know, I'm an obsessed Golden State Warrior fan. Like, so when they were at Oracle Arena, I became people started calling me the mayor of Roracle because I would go to a lot of games, and I'm still obsessed with the Warriors. And in fact, the official DJ of the Golden State Warriors is a young brother that I helped mentor, DJ D Sharp. So yeah, I'm the biggest Warrior fan. You're right. I should have mentioned
We may
basketball.
have a bit of a battle. I don't
Ah,
know, I'm the biggest Raptor fan, so we
you
may have a little
you
bit of a battle a
hey
couple years
you
ago, you
you
know?
you you guys got lucky a couple years ago.
Ah,
That's all right.
no, that's
That's
what they
okay.
always say, that's what they always say. We're the fighting college team. All I gotta say is Lowry is like a football player. He's taken more charges and more hits. How many times you see LeBron James, like, whine like a little baby in the corner, you know? Like, we're not even hitting him, and he'll just fall over and, like, clench his elbow for, like, for a foul. It's like, "Really? We don't play
Uh,
like that. We take full charges." But I'm a pretty hardcore Raptors fan though. So it was a
as
moment.
you should be, as you should
Yeah.
be,
It
as you
was a
should be.
moment. It was a moment in history, but I know you guys, were just like, "Oh, it's cuz you guys had too many injuries and that's the only way we won," which I don't know. I feel like we fought really hard, you
Oh
know?
no, you guys did. I'm just talking mess. I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
I
it
am
it
too.
it it it, it is what it is.
Do you
All
ever
right,
see
so
the Golden State female DJ on here that plays
oh
for the
yeah,
Golden
oh
State?
yeah, yeah, Umami. Actually, I'm DJing with Umami this Friday night.
Oh, nice. I haven't seen her
Yeah,
around on Twitch forever.
yeah,
I
yeah. She. Well, I know she had moved out, but now she's back here in the Bay Area. So
I'll have to
I think
catch her
she's
again.
solidifying her thing. But yeah, I'm actually gonna play with her on this Friday for First Fridays in downtown Oakland. But
Okay,
okay,
and
so
thank
back
you,
so
Junior. I'd say one thing. Thank you, Junior, for those bits too. I just saw that, and just ignore Stirs de Soul's comment. They keep bugging me about Lucy is luck. Uh, leave me
so
alone. Let's go on with your story.
so so I end up sitting with my friend Rick and his friend who got us the passes into this whole VIP, party, this little after party thing. And it turns out her niece had worked for Prince for like I don't know a long time. So that's where we ended up getting the passes from. And so we're sitting there talking, just whatever, making small conversation. And here comes Prince back over to talk to her, basically. And he sees us sitting there, and once again, I don't know what to say. I give him the
The head nod
I
again.
give
Oh
him the
no.
head nod again, and sure enough, he gives the nod back to me, and he makes a little small talk with her and says hi to her, and because he obviously he's ran into her, many times before, um, but yeah, he hung out the whole night. And I want to say he had like a glass of wine or something along those lines, but he was super cool. He went down to the stage and said hi to everybody. And it was a very unique night in the sense of it was the first night he had met, or first night he had met and heard Pam the Funkstress DJ. And right after that particular night, Pam became like his after party DJ.
Oh
Like, he
wow.
contacted her, and when he passed, she was his official DJ for those last, like, few months of his life.
That's
And she's
amazing.
and she's we love Pam. She went on to, and she's passed away now, but we love Pam so much, and we hold her in such high regard, um, to this day. And to know she got to go out on the road with him and do shows with him, and just it was amazing. And to know, like, and actually one of the people that I took a picture of her with Apollonia with was Pam. And I and I still have that picture in my phone to this day. um and so yeah, that was the first time he had heard her. And then she forever is known as Purple Pam, to the to this day. And
Wow.
her connection with Prince was because of that night, and he hearing her for the first time, and and fell in love with her and brought her out on the road with her. So yeah,
Hmm.
it was such an incredible night. Yeah, and so I fanned out, and I never said anything to him, but I did hang out with him for a while.
Hmm. That's awesome. That's such a great story. Women Unsilenced, I see you. How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for coming through. Yeah, those are such great stories,
Let
memories.
me do another quick Prince story.
Yeah, go
So
ahead. Yeah.
the other day, I was telling this on stream. Uh, the other day, I lost an ex girlfriend of mine, Chantel Bell. She was from Los Angeles, but even though we were, ex girlfriend, ex boyfriend, we still, you know, kept in touch with each other. And she passed away from complications due to lupus. She had lupus. Um, but the first time that we had kind of hooked up, or the first time we had spent a Valentine's Day together, me and her, she was driving up here from Los Angeles to the Bay Area. And a couple days before she was going to make it up here, Prince pops up and does a pop-up show, like a last minute show, which he always did in the Bay Area. He has such a big strong connection to the Bay Area. Like, after the revolution, if you go through all his band members, most of them were from the Bay Area. He had a love affair with the Bay Area. We loved him back. And so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, wow, it's going to be our first Valentine's Day weekend spending together. I'm going to get tickets to see Prince. And so I get tickets for it's a Saturday night, which is Valentine's Day, and then a Sunday night. I get tickets for the Sunday night show. Um, and this is All Star Weekend in the NBA, which is happening in Los Angeles, 2004. So on the Saturday night show, it's a who's who. Puffy is there. Mary J. Blige is
Wow.
there. I mean,
Crazy.
they all flew up because it's Prince Valentine's Day in a
Hmm.
small venue. Like we're talking 900 people in this venue. Like seriously, we were 20 feet away from the stage. Like I mean, he's
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I got something. I'm gonna, I got a surprise for you. And she's all like, what? And I was like, I have tickets. We're gonna go see Prince on Sunday night. And she goes, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like
You're like,
deadpan.
that's it?
I'm like, okay, cool. This, you know how hard these tickets were to get? I got lucky getting these tickets. In my head, I'm saying this. And she says, okay, cool. Like I'm like kind of stunned, like, and she goes on to tell me, she was like, oh, I like Prince, but I know you like him a lot more. And years later, afterwards, she would say, and she would always bring up the show and what have you. And I, she ended up liking Prince a lot more after that. But in my head, I was like, man, you could have faked it. Like you could have,
Yeah. That is the
seriously, like
ultimate. I think that's such a sweet, that's like the ultimate Valentine's gift, I think, you know?
that. It really was. And it was funny because maybe a year or so later, in my head, I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't think this relationship is gonna work. And I kind
Aw.
of use that as an excuse to an extent. I would
Mhm.
tell people, I was like, man, I would tell people that story, and I was like, yeah, when that happened, I think it was downhill from there. It wasn't though, but
Yeah.
I always jokingly, and I even told her that story. I was like, I would tell people like, because of your reaction to going to see Prince, that I was like, I knew that we weren't gonna make it as a couple.
Oh, man. Every woman should be grateful. Do you wanna know what I got this Valentine's Day? Just take a
Uh-oh,
lucky
uh-oh,
guess. Take a lucky
uh-oh.
guess what I got in the grocery store. Anything, anything that comes to mind. What would you normally get at the grocery store for
What would you
Valentine's Day? And I didn't get it from anyone. I actually got it from a store clerk. This woman came up to me and was chasing me to give me this special
I was
gift.
gonna say a box of chocolates or like a
No,
little whatever.
definitely
No?
wasn't that. It was, oh, Stirs to Soul says dust bunnies. No, I don't even know what dust bunnies are. Are those chocolate? I don't even know. Are those candies? I don't know. Anyways, I'll keep it short. But we oh jeez, DJ Mark Maiden says a sandwich. Hey, I would be happy. DJ Big Mark or DJ Mark Maiden, I would be happy if it was a sandwich. Stirs the souls like a pig in the blanket. I would even be happy with that. What is that? Pork or something in a blanket?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'd be happy with food. But anyways, I was on Valentine's Day. I'll never forget this Valentine's Day. I was grocery shopping. Worst day to go because everyone's out trying to buy flowers and stock up on food and everything. So basically, this store clerk came up to me and gave me a COVID testing kit that they're getting rid of. You have to pay like $50 to $160 out here. So I always joke
Wow.
on my stream showing this green box, and people are like, Honey Flo, is that a pregnancy test? I'm like, no, it's a COVID testing kit on Valentine's Day. It
Wow.
wasn't even wrapped up with like a nice
Wow.
ribbon. I didn't even get chocolates. I didn't even get one chocolate with it or a piece of candy. So be very grateful, ladies. You may complain with your men with some of the gifts, but honestly, you're lucky if you get a tulip at this point. And I think that is an incredible gift. Like, I'm so surprised she's a little bit like, but I guess if you're not a fan, I guess maybe I might get it. Like, we're music lovers. So that would be an incredible gift. Like, I'd be happy if someone gave me, old wired speakers or like an 8 track. Like, that would excite me. So, but
Wow, a
the Prince
COVID test.
yeah, it
Wow.
was a COVID testing kit. I thought that was pretty hilarious. It made me laugh. And then I circled the store. I go, well, if they're giving away one, I may as well try to get another free box because you never
Hey.
know if you need to use this again, if you're traveling, who knows, I don't know if
Yeah,
you
no,
guys
exactly.
pay out there, but we have to pay like 50 to like $160 to do a test. It's pretty pricey.
Oh,
So,
wow. No,
yeah.
we actually we have we could get tests for free out here, so we're
Oh,
we're
okay.
we're lucky in
You
that.
get them, yeah, you get them if you go to the doctor, but I guess that if you're traveling, those pre-testing kits
Oh, okay. We actually like we the they're
stirs the
like
soul.
the little stores, CVS and Walgreens that we have out here. They actually offer free tests, so we're definitely lucky in that regard.
Yeah, well, that's good. Hey, we got I am DJ Bay, iBay in the building. How you doing? Good to see
I
you.
bet it was good.
How you doing, iBay? Good to see you. He does a great show too. Are you guys close? Have you guys ever
Oh
met in the
yeah,
area?
yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's my guy right there. He's a good dude, solid
Aw,
dude.
yeah, he's a really good guy. He does such a great show
He's the
too.
he's the
Such
he's
a
the
great.
king of he's the king of graphics. If you need graphics, anything, emotes, overlays,
Oh, I might
iBay
need
is
to
the
ask
guy.
you, iBay, because I need to figure
iBay
out.
is that guy.
Yeah, I just started this with StreamYards here, going to different platforms. So I haven't figured out how to do an overlay. I'm still trying to figure this or learn, basically. So maybe I might be in touch with you as well, iBay, for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
hook him up. He'll lace you.
Stirs the Soul says free kits so we could freak it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, California Soul says, great DJ and graphics. Yeah, I got to check out your graphics. Um, oh, iBay says, I still don't have Haley in the hot tub. What about Megan Good as well? You
Oh,
know,
you know what? Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
all those girls
I
are
I
beautiful
could.
women.
I there's a slot in for Megan Good, and
You should
and
put
I got.
Stirs to Soul in the hot tub. You should put this guy in the hot tub too in your scene as well.
I'm just saying if I can get a picture, you could be in the hot tub, y'all. Seriously,
Don't worry, I'll
it's
send you a
nothing.
picture of him. We could shove him in. We'll shove him in there as well. Yeah, what women do you have in there actually that are celebrities in your hot tub scene thing?
Definitely Halle Berry, Selma
Yeah.
Hayek has made an appearance. Who else?
Selma Hayek.
Yeah.
No
Oh
J
shit.
Lo? You're Mexican. No
No,
J
no, I
Lo?
know, I know, no J Lo. No,
Hmm.
Selma Hayek took that kind of.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
But
Who's
a
the
lot.
other
See,
girl? What about the girl? Is it Eva from Hitch? I think she's beautiful. I feel like
oh
she's
yeah, Eva
stunningly
Mendes.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Eva
yeah.
Mendes, yeah.
What happened to her? She kind of
I
fell
don't
off, huh?
know. I think she's stunningly beautiful as well. Hey, DJ Mai Tai, good to see you. We could throw DJ Mai Tai in the hot tub too. She's like, what did I just get into? She's like Jilly from Philly. Like look at her. Like she's stunning. She looks like she definitely got the Jilly from Philly vibe going on. So you could throw
that's
her in there.
that's a good down. That's a good vibe. I'm just saying.
It is a good vibe for sure. Hey, DJ Ash G, my sis from the same Mister there. Good to see you guys. So if you guys have any questions before we wrap up, wow, it's already 7:30, gone so fast. Before we wrap up here, is there any questions for DJ Malachi? This has been such an interesting interview. Don't you guys just love his stories? Like I love his storytelling. I think you should continue doing more of that on your show, because you do have a lot of interesting, incredible stories here that we've gone through, from Janelle Monet and fluffing up princes like Fro and trying to do that as well. But yeah, if you guys have any questions before we wrap up, definitely drop them in the chat room for DJ Malachi as well. So I feel like I haven't touched base on so many questions, but that's okay. Like there's so many more questions I want to ask you, but I would say going back to Twitch, like do you have any goals or anything that you want to, that you would like on here? Like to grow or just to move forward? Like what are some of the goals that you, if you have any, that you have on here?
um, no, not really. Just as long as I'm having fun and people enjoy what I do, that's more than good enough for me. I
Hmm.
and every time I stream, I get that. Like I mean, like I said, our chat is pretty lively and kind of it can get X-rated, or we talk about food, whatever.
Hmm.
As long as I continually have fun and people enjoy the music, and I you know that obviously that's another thing I enjoy. I love I love sharing music. I love like finding something and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to play this or that or or this new song from whoever. A group like Moonchild. Oh my God, they have a
Mhm.
album called Starfruit out that just came out. Like that's super amazing. I
Mhm.
Yeah, I love to find new music and share. I love to share. So uh, and make we just started last couple weeks ago a jazz raid train that we
Oh,
we did for
nice. That's so nice.
we did for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Uh, Next month or this month coming, we're gonna do for 16 hours. Me and the vibe curator.
Mhm.
Uh, he had did one before, and I was like, "When you gonna do the next one?" And he was like, "Hey, do it with me." So we decided that's our thing. And this last one we did a couple weeks ago. People they had a ball. They really enjoyed it, and we got so much great feedback. Like all these other DJs are like, "Hey, I want to get in on it. I want to play." I play jazz, so man, on a Sunday, it's a perfect time for like jazz music and for all our
Mhm.
jazz lovers. I would love that for that stream to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, the jazz would be amazing, and it's just so relaxing and therapeutic too. Like, I love even when you do weddings or something, you go home late night, you pack up all your stuff alone, you're in a car, you're driving a couple hours home. It's like I always love just playing some smooth jazz or just something that is just mellow, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
No,
really good.
no, most definitely. I was so on Thursdays I play soul, but then I also incorporate jazz. And my overlay is like an old Donald Byrd jazz cover, and I wear a bow tie, and I have a big collection of bow ties, and
Mhm.
it's an homage to my dad basically, because he raised me upon jazz, blues, and soul, and he was very big on accessories. Dad had a lot of ties, bow ties, scarves, cufflinks, hats.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of like, it's kind of me paying tribute to him every Thursday morning.
Mhm.
I do a stream where I incorporate jazz and I incorporate soul. So, and that's one of my favorite times to stream.
Do you
Is
also like being, Mexican, do you ever play much Spanish music? I don't think I've heard that from your
not you know
sets.
what not as much
Mhm,
because I mean it was definitely played around me, but not as much. Um, I yeah there's certain songs that kind of catch my ear, but I guess I leave that more to the experts. I'm more of an expert on black music than I am Mexican music.
mhm.
So
Hmm. That's awesome. We got, Evie Nicole in the building. How you
hey, even
doing?
Nicole.
I see you coming through here. Just trying to look. Let's see. Oh, hey, here's some good questions. I just had a few of them. I'm going to try to pull them up here. If I could
Okay.
find them. I just had one and now I can't seem to find it. Okay, so Mr. Tay 15 says, Malachi, after you and Technique, who is your next favorite DJ duo? That's a great question.
Oh man, that's geez, that's tough. Hey, yeah, I'm gonna tell you who they were on the Jazz Raid train the whatever the 2 weeks ago, or maybe like a week and a half ago. Um, Perez and Lady Flick, also known as Love from NYC. That's their Twitch handle, Love from NYC. Check them out. They are too cute. They both DJ, and when one's not DJing, the other's on the mic, and they are like super cute. I mean, super cute. They dress up real Natalie, and they're just oh my god! And they play incredible music and great music. And I also have to shout out Mr. Tay and DJ Brother Reese, who their show is on later today. That's our fellow Black Latino family. They're my favorites as well. But definitely, if you want like you're somebody who you haven't had a chance to see, and they're so cute together, and and they finish each other's
Oh,
sentences
I
and
like
what have
that.
you.
I'm going to check
Yeah,
that out.
yeah. Love from NYC. Look up Love from NYC, just like it's spelled, LOVEFROM NYC.
I think they posted the link here. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yep,
we'll
there you
definitely
go.
check it.
Thank you, Neil. Appreciate that, brother.
California Soul says he's more black than I am. Oh my goodness. Wow.
I've I've been told that it's the one and only JG says the same thing.
Let's see here. DJ Neo Geo says, "What kind of tours have you been on? Curious about the ABB years."
Oh
That's a great
man.
question.
Um, mostly because we didn't have a whole lot of money. Um, you know, generally we didn't go out on tours, but I do recall the first time taking out little brother throughout California, which was amazing because the album was starting to blow up, and so we get to LA, and they're just the darlings of like, I mean, wherever we went, people were just like geeking out, like because the album was bubbling at the time. Like all the radio stations were just like sprung, and it was cute because it was the first time two of them had never been on a plane before, and
Hmm.
so it was their first time coming to California. And I forget one of them had been on a plane, but the other two hadn't. And I remember we were doing an in store in the valley somewhere, um, and they went to go grab something to eat, and they end up running into oh man, what's my man's name from MTV? Uh, oh man, who's the white guy on MTV? Tom. Oh shoot,
I don't
I'm
even
getting
know.
old. Tom.
Yeah, I'm getting old. I haven't watched MTV in years.
Yeah. This is when MTV was still you would still kind of watch it. Tom. He was a comedian, and he was kind of goofy.
I don't know.
Tom Green. There you go, Tom Green.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
Neil.
Yeah.
So yeah, they end up running into Tom Green on the street, and they just you talk about just they nerded out on
Hmm.
dude like because Tom Green was huge at the time.
Yeah,
That no,
isn't he Canadian? Tom Green?
is
I
he?
don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't even know if he
Why we
was.
always have like dorky people representing Canadians? Sorry. I don't know if it's who I'm thinking of. I'm like, oh man, you know.
He was super fun. I like Tom Green. He was funny to me. So
Hmm.
it was cute just seeing them kind of nerd out.
Or Mike
And
Myers and some of those guys. Oh, brother.
and I remember us going to San Diego, and for whatever reason, like somebody at the label booked us this hotel to stay, and it was like it was. I mean, it was a shithole. Honestly, pardon my
Hmm.
language. It was.
Hmm.
I mean, it was really bad. It was a really terrible hotel, and I remember the guys were like, "We're not staying here," and I'm like, "Yeah, I agree." And Ninth Wonder had just sold some beats to Mailman from Dr. Dre's camp,
Wow.
like the day before or something. And so Ninth told us, you know what, fellas, I'll just pay for I'll pay for the hotel. And I remember, like, I think we were all kind of like lightweight crying, like we were kind of stuck in a messed up situation, and the fact that Ninth had to pay for the hotel rooms, and but he had made some nice, he had sold a bunch of beats, so he made like probably like the most money he had ever made at one point at that time. So
Hmm.
um, we end up going to a better hotel and staying there in San Diego, and had all the shows were great, except there was one in Santa Barbara that like nobody came to because there was another show going on across town, and it was only like a handful of people that showed up, but it was a fun tour, and I got to hang out with those guys on a bus. And if you've ever been around like Fonte is just uh, the funniest dude ever. Like, I mean, he's just a ball of laughs. And on that trip, I found out how much you could see like the inklings of foreign exchange where he had gone with the whole foreign exchange kind of vibe because he loved like groups like Jazzanova. He loved soul music, like especially kind of electronic UK kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so we would be in record stores, and he'd be like, he'd like pick out some stuff and be like, "Yo, here, peep this out," and then I'd school him on some things. I'm like, "Yo, have you heard this before?" And then we're like, just kind of schooling each other on music, and another just crazy music nerd, and you can hear him obviously on the Questlove Supreme podcast, as he's one of the regulars, and his music knowledge is just like beyond belief. So
Yeah, that's
it was
so good.
and it's fun. I distinctly remember the first day I heard their demo, like come into the office and telling people in the office, I'm like, oh, okay, because I assumed this was something coming out on Raucous or a major label. And then I'm like, hey, who's this? What label is this coming out on? And then somebody yelled out in the office, this is a demo. And I immediately said, we need to call these dudes like right now. Like that, no hesitation. No, we need to get on the phone with these dudes. This is some next level, like But little did I know the wheels are already in motion for us to sign them and what have you. So to see their growth from back then to where they all are now, like ninth, producing songs for Jay-Z and Beyonce and Mary J. and
Yeah, it's so
and
crazy.
and
Wow.
you know and Fonte with all his success and
Hmm.
Grammy nominated, and Pooh kind of venturing off into the management field and still putting out music, and little brother still doing their thing. I wish they could all be back together, but still it really warms my heart knowing I played a little role in their success back in the day, way back in the day. So
Yeah, that's so interesting, that story. So here and oh, and then this here it says, do you miss the oh yeah, the 75 degrees days?
I actually was in a group called 75 Degrees. Our
Hmm.
albums are still on iTunes.
Oh wow.
You
So
can
make sure
buy
you
'em.
guys check it out, guys.
Yeah, we were like a hip hop band, like probably a little bit before the Roots, or kind of, yeah, or about the same time as the Roots, but a little, slightly different from a West Coast kind of vibe, kind of
Hmm.
angle.
So
So
Neo Geo says, I was intimidated when I first met Malachi because I heard of him and his ABB years. That's why it's probably good to not know, like for me, I don't know as much as you guys know. I tried Googling, running Google searches on him, but like everything's clean, you know? So he's got a clean record, guys. Let his girlfriend know. I think she's still tuning in, but I couldn't find, like tons and tons. So sometimes it's good to, that it's interesting that people know different things about you, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, no, no,
And
exactly.
and how they feel. That's awesome, you know?
No, and a lot of it is relatable because a lot
Mhm.
of people don't, the fact that I've worked with Little Brother, and that I know them, and Dilated Peoples, and and all these all these amazing people that I've encountered over the years, and whether it be Prince or like a Stevie Wonder, or whoever. It's cool. It's fun. I enjoy sharing the stories as well.
Yeah, it's so true. That's so awesome. Well, I wanted to thank you so much, for coming on. It's been incredible. It's been almost 3 hours actually, which is amazing. And I could still chop it up like another couple hours too. I got to get ready. I'm on female raid tomorrow,
Oh,
which will
nice.
be quite big. So I definitely got to prep for that and a few other things. But why don't you let people know kind of, your schedule and your shows, and just so people know where to find, when to find you as well. And that would be great. And make sure everyone in the room before you leave, and anyone catching the replays, because I know a lot of people catch the replays from my show. Make sure you guys are adding DJ Malachi as well here on Twitch. He really does an incredible show, and it is really unique. And just the sound, the soul, the neo soul. I love when I get a chance to jump on his channel and sometimes lurk in the background and listen to him. It's just very, very unique. That's why I feel like you and Selecta could be cousins, because it's just that artistry vibe. I don't even know how to explain it, but I can understand why you guys have developed a bromance because it makes sense to me, you know? Yeah, so and he's got that kind of collective different sound and so do you. And I think that's a special gift, you know? A
Yeah.
lot of DJs could play music, but I think when you're able to play music and it feels like you're telling a story and you don't even have to share a story, I think that's really special, especially with the music. So yeah, definitely, you know, definitely make sure everyone adds him. He's well deserving. And I just see you shooting so far on Twitch, not even just on Twitch, but offline as well. I see you going like, you know, really, really far. So just mark my words on my show, you know, and remember the little people, you know, which I think you always will, you know. But yes, thank you for posting the link again. I was looking for it. So again, make sure you guys add DJ Malachi. So yeah, I'll let them know your shows, what time you're on, and what I'll do is I think I'm gonna leave it up to you. I don't know if you can see, but who you want to raid to. I'm gonna leave that one to you. So if there's anyone that you see that you're vibing or feeling, we could definitely, you know,
Okay,
raid
yeah.
them.
All right, okay. So yeah, let me give you the schedule. Yeah, the Twitch channel is DJ Malachi 510. Somebody actually has DJ Malachi, but they're not doing anything with it, but whatever.
Oh, okay. The same
um,
name.
yeah, so yeah, DJ Malachi 510 on Twitch. Um, I'll actually be on later tonight. I'm gonna do a new wave set. Um, One of the things I usually we kind of flip flop. Every other Wednesday, I do a new wave set, or we do like a more kind of neo soul set on a Wednesday night. So yeah, on Wednesday nights, I'm usually on from 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. ish uh, Pacific Standard Time. On Thursdays, I am on Thursday mornings at 10, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Easy like Thursday mornings, where it's like soul and jazz. Sundays, I'm part of DJ Q's Sunrise Grooves Raid Train, and I usually come on at 1 p.m., which is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and usually play for a couple hours. And then be on the lookout for the Jazz for That Ass Raid Train, the second version of that, um, come in March 20th, and that'll be on a Sunday. You could follow me on Instagram as well. It's DJ Malachi. Yeah, you can find it and keep up with the socials, and I'll keep you locked in and what have you. Let's see who is on. Let's
All
see
right.
who is on.
I'd love to bring you back again too. It was so much fun, you know, just coming on today with you and just chopping it up. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm
for
definitely going to
sure.
bring you back on again. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. How about let's see who's let's see. Oh, you know what? How about my guy Blue Cheese, FK Ranch.
It's DJ Blue. Yeah, I think I've
It's
heard of him. I
yeah,
used to make fun of him
BLU.
with blue cheese because he loves blue cheese.
Yeah, BLUCHEEZ, and then the rest should come up. That's
Oh,
my
here we
guy.
go.
From
Okay.
Indianapolis, Blue Cheese,
Yeah,
FK
he's
Ranch.
really fixated on blue cheese and not ranch. We
He's
got
yeah,
into a debate
exactly.
one night. I was like, "Boy, blue cheese tastes like dirty feet." So,
Oh, see,
I don't know about blue
I'm a
cheese.
Blue Cheese fan. So,
I'm
but
definitely a ranch girl. Yeah.
really, with hot wings, you really
Oh
still?
yeah,
Yeah?
you dip
Oh,
it in
okay.
the ranch, it's perfect. Blue cheese, I don't know, it's got this weird aftertaste. I can't get with it. But I'll get with blue cheese today, you know. I haven't seen him for a while. Okay, awesome. So this will be a nice surprise for him, guys. So make
Yeah,
sure,
most definitely show him
yeah,
some love.
yeah, let's show him some love. You know, it means everything to a streamer, even if you're in his chat for 5 minutes. It truly does. A lot of streamers work really hard on Twitch, and you know, and it takes a lot to put on a show and develop good content. So definitely let's show him some love. I wonder if we should do something to him though, because last time we got into this huge debate. So I wonder if I should put up a raid message like ranch all the way or something on him. Like go raid, 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 and then put like um, you know, like ranch all the way or something like that. I don't know. I don't think I have my mods in the building to put up a message. But if anyone wants to put up like raid, raid, raid in the chat and then just put ranch is better or something like that. If someone can post that in the chat, then everyone can copy it and we'll
Exactly.
go in his room, you know? I don't have yeah, I don't think I can't pull up my emotes here on because I'm on through StreamYards right now. So if someone or could you think of a funny message? I don't know. I can't think of one. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I think Eve posted. Okay. Eve posted this
Balsamic.
one. All right. So we could run with this one then. So if everyone could copy, thank you, Evie Nicole. So if everyone could copy Evie's message, that's hilarious. That'll kind of get him back, you know, and hopefully he could read it. Or you can also copy DJ Neo Geo's message, Ranch Rules. That would be hilarious. So either one, just make sure you guys copy and paste either one of these messages. So we'll see what he says when we get in the room about him. I might miss it, but we'll see. Hey, DJ Styles, I'm going to be interviewing him soon too. DJ Styles, and what else? Yeah, and hopefully I could get on iBay. I would love to have you on iBay for an
Yeah,
interview. I think it would
you
be
got to get
amazing.
eBay on for
I'm
sure.
going to shoot my shot in front of like 20 something people so he can't say no. I've done that to a few people. It's either gone really good or really bad, but I'll shoot my shot. Will you, eBay, accept? You know, will you say I do to me for a show, interview show?
See,
Actually, I think I did message
this is
him.
like Love is Blind. I'm
Yeah,
telling
I think I did message him. Oh, you better not say that. I don't want to get in trouble. Like, you know, people have wifeys and girlfriends. Um, you know,
you.
oh yeah, I remember I already asked him, so it's okay. I won't keep bugging him. Excuses, excuses. We could do a pre-recorded interview. iBay, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna find you. You can't say no to me. No, I'm just joking. It's okay. It's fine. It was good. DJ Styles is going to be on, so that's good. But anyways, I won't pressure you guys. It's all good. If you want to come on, by all means, I'd love to have you. If not, then that's okay. I'll still support and come and see your shows and stuff. But thank you so much again for this interview. It was so dope, so awesome. And I'm definitely going to have you on again. And thank you just for being so honest today. I really admire that, you know, about you. I think I admire that even more now that we've had a conversation today.
Yeah.
So I just thank you for being so open with your stories and honest. And you just never know, you know, who that could help and who that could touch out there. So thank you for sharing your story. Definitely takes courage, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch. But if you want to say, you know, a few shout outs, I could start this raid. Like I'm going to set it up and you can definitely say some shout outs if you'd like too.
Oh yeah, shout out to the whole chat. You know, everybody who's been in the chat who chimed in with us and hung out with us and listened to my stories. And no, like I said, Twitch has been an amazing platform as far as relationships goes, and just it's yeah, it's I I thank God for it. It's been amazing. Like I get to play, like later tonight I get to play New Wave. Like I can't go to a club and play New Wave. Like that, only on Twitch I could do this and nerd out with my people over New Wave music. So man, I like I said, appreciate everybody. Man, there's too many of y'all to name off, and but thank you, JG, as always. My love, I love you. Yeah, it's thank you, Honey Flow. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love.
Yes, for
Appreciate the
sure.
support. And this is keep doing what you're doing. And you know, if you aren't following Honey Flow, please do that. All right, y'all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm just trying to set up this raid here right now. Yeah, I really do appreciate it. Such a great interview. It's always good, you know, meeting people that are kind of just really down to earth. It just makes, you know, doing these shows so much easier, which
Yeah.
I love, you know. And just learning more about you guys, I think, is pretty awesome besides just DJing. Like, you know, your background, your history, where you came from is so interesting as well. So all right, so we are going to start this raid. Don't forget to copy and paste, you know, any of those raid messages that you guys popped up would be hilarious. So I'm going to start this raid right now. And thank you guys. Thank you guys again for all the support on the show today coming through. Hope to see each and every one of you guys back again. And, and let's surprise, Blue Cheese over here. And, hopefully he'll be able to hopefully he'll get a good laugh and be able to see it. I'm not sure if he will, but we'll see. It'll be great. But thank you guys again for coming through. And I think it's just about going. It'll probably be going in the next couple minutes too. I'm just waiting for this to raid out, I think. Okay. I just put raid now. All right. Did it look like it went through? I think.
Yeah, it went through.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much again. I'm going to end this broadcast, just talk to you for a minute backstage too.
Okay.
And I'll see you guys tomorrow as well. I'm going to be on a raid train. See you guys tomorrow and sometime this week. And make sure you check out DJ Malachi tonight as well.